Well, a very warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Knockhill Racing Circuit for the afternoon session of our race day here, powered and sponsored by Reese Motorsport Insurance. It's David Christie here with you for the remainder of the afternoon. Joining me in the commentary box for the Classic Sports and Saloons will be Malcolm Smith, and joining us in pit lane is going to be the young superstar himself, Mr. Andy Alston. But we are back on the grids because it's time to go for race 2 of the Scottish Fiesta Championship. And you can see the cars there on the grid, ready to go for their green flag lap after doing a fantastic tradition that they do here at the SMRC, the lunchtime grid walk, where members of the public are completely free of charge, allowed to come in, walk about and get up close and personal with these race cars. So it's fantastic stuff to see. Obviously, the talk of the town just now is the fact that we've already had our first race of the day underway with the Fiestas. So they'll be going out again for the afternoon. Qualifying earlier on, it was Liam McGill that took pole position from Stephen Gray, and then Ian Blackley in third place with Brodie Orr in fourth position. You can see the stewards, marshals out there just checking that the drivers are ready to go. So the cars on the grid then, and we get ready for our first action of the day with the Fiesta STs. Of course, we have the Fiesta STs. We've got the Challenge Cup as well taking part of that, the ST Challenge. Just the three cars that are in that is going to be Kieran Preedy in the number 21. Also is going to be number 5, Lauren Murray, and then there's number 7, Stuart Murray. But the cars making their way off, so let's check out the grid then for our first race of the afternoon. You can see there in pole position Liam McGill ahead of Stephen Gray. Row 2 is going to be Ian Blackley with Brodie Orr. Row 3 is going to be Kieran Preedy along with Andrew Mackey. Row 4, Gerald Henry and Peter Cruikshank in 7th and 8th. Row 5 is going to be Lon Murray and Stephen Ward. Nick Forsyth alongside Lucy Hales-Maver on row 6. And then at the back of the grid, Stuart Murray in 13th position rounds out our grid. So the cars making their way through just now. As we said, it's going to be a rather interesting day at the races. So the cars making their way round on the green flag lap then. The marshals making sure all the last minute changes and necessities have been taken care of. And let's have a quick look at the points and the standings then. And it's joint top of the table then for Stephen Gray alongside Liam McGill. Brodie Orr is in third position, 114 points. That's 46 points behind your joint championship leaders. Mark Dixon in fourth on 88. Ian Blakely in fifth position. Dave Colville down in sixth with Peter Cruikshank in seventh. Kieran Preedy in eighth position. Russell Morgan in ninth and Lorne Murray in 10th position. Just 28 points, but Lorne, again, a driver that I know personally myself, actually. Lorne has really enjoyed the challenge of racing in these STs. He's an avid sim racer and has found it really enjoyable, the transfer of skills between the two disciplines. But the STs up onto the grid then for their first race of the day. And you can see then side by side, as we said, the 62 up on the left-hand side there. So just waiting for the cars to get onto the grid for this first race of the afternoon. And there you can see the number 7 just at the back of the grid, rounding out the field. We get the green flag ready to go. We'll get the 1 minute board, then the 30-second board held up. And we will be good to go racing here at Knockhill this afternoon. We've got 8 races up in store for you today. The Legends will make their return, second race for them as well. And many, many others. The C1s in association with the SMTA. 30-second boards held out. You can see Liam McGill and Stephen Gray at the front of the field. Five-second boards held out, the lights are on, and we get ready to go this afternoon for our first race, and it's away, a clean start from the 13 cars there. Everybody away in these fantastic sounding ST Fiestas down into Duffus Step for the first time of asking then. We've already got a car taken to the escape road. I wonder if that was the 35 of Andrew Mackey having to do so already, but look at Liam McGill already way out in the lead, and there you go, that is going to be the 23, I believe, of Lucy Hales Maver that was running very, very wide there, but already that is a heck of a gap opened up between both Liam McGill and Stephen Gray. They are miles ahead of Ian Blackley and the rest of the field already just now. So a heck of a start for them just now. But also looking further back, it is indeed Ian Blackley. Brodie Orr is in there as well. There's Stephen Gray having a look to the inside of Liam McGill. It's not going to happen there. So there we go, lap 1 completed for the STs, the Scottish ST Cup. Down through Duffus Step then for the second lap in a row then. You can see Liam McGill still ahead of the 24 of Stephen Gray, the two of them nose to tail, as we've got 11 laps left to go in this race here. So it's a long time, it's going to be a long slog for these drivers to be able to go through, and you get the feeling that the pace that they're going just now, they're going to come across some lap traffic probably by about lap 8 or lap 9. But again, it's a very muted affair actually. It's a very calm start for the remainder of the field right now. They're all able to get themselves into their positions here. I don't know how calm it's going to stay for Stephen Gray. You do get the feeling that he's, again, maybe weighing something up here. As you can see in shot there, that's the 55 and the 5. That's Stephen Ward just ahead of Lorne Murray just now. Liam McGill takes the fastest lap of the race, 61.642. That is 1/10 of a second faster than Stephen Gray in that second position just now. But you can see as well, a little bit of a gap opening up to Stephen Gray in second place. Have a look at Kieran Preedy though in the 21. He's in no man's land ahead of Andrew Mackey, and just behind Stephen Gray as well, probably about 1.6 seconds behind Stephen Gray in that second place. But he has got nobody behind him directly. Oh, and that was a bit of a wiggle there from the 333 of Ian Blackley there. He's got Brodie Orr right on his tail. The plucky youngster trying to make anything happen right now, but it's not happening for the 31 of Brodie Orr right now. He's desperately trying to get past that car in front of him of Ian Blackley. Is it going to be a move to the inside? We've seen this time and time again from Brodie Orr. No, because Ian Blackley counters that move there. He kept that car nice and tight to the apex and actually managed to just trail brake that car through the exit of that corner there. So great stuff to see from the 333 of Ian Blackley. Not only holding on to that position, but actually making it work for him. And that was a bit of a moment there for Brodie Orr there, tries to get back onto the grass there, went very, very wide there, little bit of contact with the car behind him. I believe that was the 61, perhaps, of Peter Cruikshank, who was trying to make a move stick there. In fact, actually, that was the 147 of Gerald Henry. who was trying to make a move there. So Brodior actually going significantly down the order here, because there is Pierre Cruikshank is already a car in front of Brodior right now. And unfortunately, this is what we've seen from the youngster, still very much cutting his teeth in these saloon cars here, is the fact that maybe just pushing the car a little bit too hard there, as Gerald Henry sends it up the inside there. Very, very talented youngster, and that's into the pits. That is going to be one of the red cars. That, I believe, is that Kieran Preedy that's went into pit lane there. Looks like some sort of suspension damage on the right rear there. He's going to head into pit lane. I believe that's a 21 of Kieran Preedy. So from a very strong position, Kieran Preedy has to take the car into pit lane, potentially going to be retiring that car from the race. We can see there the 35 there. That is Andrew Mackey. Now in between Ian Blackley, who is up to third position, and ahead of Peter Cruikshank as well. 8 laps left to go in this race, and again, we need to find out what on earth happened there to Kieran Preedy in that 21 there. It did look like there was some sort of mechanical failure on that car, because it was bouncing about when it went up into pit lane there. But anyway, having a look at the 333 right now of Ian Blackley, he has got 35 of Andrew Mackey firmly on his tail there, and we've got a safety. In fact, it's a red flag. So we've got a red flag on the race here. Now, we didn't see any incident or any cars stopped there, so perhaps it's debris that's left on the track there. We'll have to get a word out to find out what has happened there. But again, a red flag coming out. And, well, there we go. That's what's going to have happened then. That's the 55 of Stephen Ward. The car is on its side, so that's going to have to be recovered there. That looks like it's been a... Now, that is down at the bottom of Duff's Step, so that's been a fairly high-speed accident, if that is the case. If he's been able to get the brakes on, it's a very easy accident to actually happen. So we'll make sure that the driver is absolutely fine, and that car is able to be recovered. But red flag situation at the moment. There we go then. So red flag out. The stewards and marshals on scene, making sure that car and the driver can be righted, put up in the right way. It's never fun, actually, when the car is in a position where it's not supposed. But again, without seeing any replays or anything, again, it's a very precise spot where that car has come into contact. At the bottom of Duff's Step, it's a braking zone going into McIntyre's. Very easy to either lock up a brake, come into contact with another car. You end up going into that short run across the gravel trap, hit the tyre wall on the inside there. And, I mean, we see it in the relatively low-speed C1s as well, how easy it is for these cars to lose balance and to tip over. But as we said, we'll keep our eye on everything that's going on just now, with a very brief stoppage for red flag just now. But as it stood, it was Liam McGill ahead of Stephen Gray, Ian Blackley in third position, Andrew Mackey in fourth, Peter Cruikshank in fifth, with Gerald Henry in sixth position. Seventh position is Brodior. Eighth position is Kieran Preedy. Lorne Murray is in ninth position as well. Now, Stephen Ward was marked down in 10th position. Nicholas Forsyth in the 54 car is in 11th. You can see Nick Forsyth just coming up there with the 23 behind him of Lucy Hales-Maver and Stuart Murray in the background. So we'll have a little brief pause just now for a couple of minutes while we've got this red flag going on. The drivers will get a chance to recoup, to gather their senses, to think about what they're going to do differently after this restart. And they'll be advised of what is going to happen. But you can see the drivers opening their doors as well. The heat builds up very quickly in these cars. Again, they're standard ST Fiestas. However, when you've got everything stripped out and you don't have all of the mod cons that you would normally have in a road car, those cars get very, very hot very, very quickly indeed. So it's never a sight that we want to bring you, the pretty damaged looking race car, but what we do like to see is the driver out of the car, obviously going through some checkups just now, walking away and getting out of the car out of his own steam. So again, a fantastic testament to the safety of these modern race cars, full roll cages, really thick protection, and yeah, everything done to make sure that days like this are as safe as possible for everyone taking part. So great to see that the driver there able to make it out of the car there, Stephen Ward, able to get out by himself. The car will be recovered. He'll obviously very likely go to the Infield Medical Centre just to go through some precautionary checks, as you can understand. But obviously, being able to show you the pictures of him standing up, that's what we always like to see. So the car will mend, he will mend, and what will take time to mend, though, is our precious tyre wall. That'll take a couple of minutes to get sorted. However, as we mentioned, we've got the Orange Army on hand to get that fixed. So while they do that, the cars are going to reorder themselves back onto the grid. They're going to go and get themselves all sorted out. And then to remind you then, on pole position, it is going to be Liam McGill ahead of Stephen Grain. Again, a little bit of an idea of the damage done to the side of that car there. You can really see that right-hand side has taken a pretty heavy hit towards the back ends of that one. So, again, it raises more questions, I think, than it answers seeing that sort of a picture, because you start thinking, how on earth has that happened? I'm pretty sure social media is going to have the answer for us, because 90% of the drivers tend to post their onboard camera footage on social media, unless another car was involved, in which case there'll be lots of shouting afterwards. But anyway, just watching the cars lining up there. And my eagle eye in the background there is a little bit concerned at the fact we've got a bonfire seems to be going on in the backgrounds of the hill there. So I'm hoping that it's not some spectators that are getting a little bit excited and got a little barbecue going. They've got the sausages on, and that will likely, we'll maybe skip by that one. But anyway, as we said, Liam McGill in pole position ahead of Stephen Gray. Ian Blackley still going to take that third position from Andrew Mackey. Peter Cruikshank in fifth position. Gerald Henry in sixth position. Brodior in seventh. Eighth place is going to be Kieran Preedy. With ninth place is going to be Lorne Murray. Stephen Ward, of course, not going to take to the restart. And that'll mean that there'll be a gap before Nick Forsyth. Then we've got Lucy Hales Maver, and then Stuart Murray at the back of the grid. But no sooner is it said than done, and the track staff and the Orange Army have got to work. They've got that tyre wall repaired there. Job done. Happy days. We've got to say a huge thank you to all of them that are out there and doing such a grand job in getting all of that sorted out. A rather precarious number 55 Fiesta ST, loaded very delicately onto that flatbed there, and that's never a sight you like seeing as a racing driver, watching your pride and joy that you spent thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds on, dangling by what looks like 4 cable ties off of the back of a recovery truck. However, having seen the recovery trucks up close and personal, the amount of technology on these things is absolutely bewildering. It's definitely an art form in itself. But the car will be loaded up. That means that we've only got a couple more minutes left before we actually get to go racing. And as we said, I mean, still a full afternoon of action left to come here. So what we'll do is we'll step away from the microphone for just a couple of seconds, just while they get that car recovered onto the flatbed. And then when we are ready to go racing again, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So the eagle-eyed among you will see the fact that we just had a board coming down saying that there's going to be another green flag lap, and it's now going to be a 7-lap race. So a 7-lap race we've got in store for us just now, and there is the car recovered onto the back of the Knockhill recovery vehicle. And we will be getting going racing very, very shortly indeed. Just to bring you up to speed then, again, just to remind you of the standings in the championship. Stephen Gray currently leading the Brodior and Mark Dixon, joint top with Liam McGill. So really, it's all about those two that are at the front of the championship and at the front of the grid. 62 of Liam McGill, neck and neck with Stephen Gray right beside him. So every single race in this championship now matters. We've got 4 rounds left to go in this championship. We've got 9 and 10 that will happen this afternoon, and then you've got 11 and 12 which will happen on the 9th of October here at Knockhill. So really everything rests on this race. There's so much that you could get out in terms of an advantage, in terms of, you know, the ability to get one up over your opponent. And again, you can see the drivers just poised and ready to go now. So again, we're just a couple of minutes a couple of minutes away from the start of our restarted Fiesta ST race here. Again, for those that are late to the party here, we don't blame you. You've obviously had a rather enjoyable lunch, but to bring it up to speed with what's happened, we had a red flag, a very brief red flag, as the number 55 of Stephen Ward was recovered from the track. Stephen is off in the ambulance, out of the car on his own steam, and off for some presumable precautionary checkups. But again, it was great to see him standing and chatting away to the medical team after what looked like quite a scary incident, because that car was on its side for some time there. And as a driver, you already feel quite precarious anyway inside of a car, and then when you're kind of dangling about, it can be very, very scary. And we like to pretend that we're all tough, grown-up adults, but yeah, really we're not. We're just overgrown children, really. Maybe I'm speaking for myself on that one, but I'm pretty sure all of the drivers that I've ever interviewed would identify as that one. So there we go. The restart is official now. It goes on to the time screen. So Liam McGill on row 1 alongside Stephen Gray, Ian Blackley on row 2 alongside Andrew Mackey, Pierre Cruikshank alongside Gerald Henry on row 3. Row 4 is going to be Brodior alongside Kieran Preedy, and then it's Lorne Murray with Nick Forsyth in row 5. Row 6 is going to be Lucy Hales-Maver and Stuart Murray rounding out the grid. Reminder, we're going to have 1 green flag lap, and then we will go into a 7-lap race. That is what we have got in store for us this afternoon. After the Fiesta STs is going to be the return of the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup and Mini Cooper S Cup, powered by Project 21 Detailing and in association with Yokohama Tyres as well. But here we go then. Green flag lap is underway. So the drivers now, this is a very important time for the drivers, because after that red flag stoppage, it's a time for them to reset their minds. It's a time for them to refocus on the job ahead. Again, having a break like that can really ruin your concentration, because you're thinking about the race, you're thinking about everything that's going on, and then you get a break. It takes you out of your rhythm, it takes you out of the whole thought process that you had going on. And that is exactly what they will be trying to undo here just now. So the cars coming up through the back straight now for the end of their green flag lap. And now, interestingly, one of the people that I gave a big shout out to was my good friend Edward Porter, one of the marshals here at Knockhill, who is actually, I'm shocked and horrified to hear this, he's actually got a day off today. He's watching the live stream with a beer in hand and actually enjoying this. So I'll be sure to pass that on to all your fellow marshals, because I'm betting they'd quite fancy having a wee beer this afternoon. But Edward, a huge thank you to you and the rest of the team here. He's doing an amazing job, and it really, really is great to see that you guys and girls all enjoy everything that you do so very, very much. Mr. Ninja Fish thinks that it's the natives sending a secret signal up on the hillside there. Well, I'm hoping that we're still able to laugh and to joke about it. However, it is a sign of the unseasonably warm weather that we've been having lately here at Knockhill. I know the entire production team is looking at me with daggers in their eyes, not believing any of that. But it's been very, very warm here at Knockhill. But the red lights ready to go on here for the restart of this Fiesta ST Cup race. Away we go. Again, side by side for your championship protagonists then. Up at the front of the grid, Liam McGill alongside Stephen McRae, who's going to be out in front for the start of this restart. And it looks like it's going to be the 24 of Stephen Gray. That was a big, big moment at the ends of the corner there for Liam McGill there. 2 wheels for a good amount of airtime there, but he had to tuck into that second place. Couldn't quite make it happen here, but he's going to try and keep pushing. So we do have a little bit of a reverse on what we had before the restart of this race. Liam McGill gets caught and has to end up, taking that second place. Behind, a little bit of rally cross there from the 61. I believe that might have been Peter Cruikshank. It was going all across the kitty litter there. These cars make wonderful rallycross cars, but perhaps not in situations like today, as we see the leaders all coming into the hairpin. Then Liam McGill actually dropping back a tiny, tiny bit here. He's going to have to stay within contention of Stephen Gray right now here. As you can see in third place then, Ian Blackley ahead of Andrew Mackey here. And the cars all streaming over the start-finish line there. That was a huge moment there for Ian Blackley. I've got no idea where he was going at the top of Duffus there. Compromises his line there, and that is going to bring him right back into the fight with Brodior. And have a look at that fight that's going on there. That's Gerald Henry that's still trying to give it to. They're side by side. Brodior, tail hanging off of the car. Wing mirrors hanging off of that car as well. That he can't quite do it. The 147 of Gerald Henry tries sneaking up the inside there, but that was a heck of a move on Andrew Mackey. Bravery wasn't enough this time though, and that is going to cause a little bit of damage to Brodior in that machine. Look up the inside there. There's the 147. Late on the brakes. There's nothing that Brodior can do other than try and drive around the outside there. Great move there from Gerald Henry. As cool as you like, but look at Brodior. He's still got the foot in. He doesn't want to give this up. They're side by side going across the line here. And knowing Brodior like I do, he's going to try and outbrake him into this corner here. So let's see. They're still side by side. And Brody gets the move done. Unbelievable from Brodior. That was incredible, incredible bravery to keep the foot in round the outside of Duffus. Then holds on to that 5th position. Brodior can absolutely hold his hands up in delight in that one. Brodior currently in 5th position, and again just shows how hotly contested this Fiesta ST group is. That's for 5th place. That isn't even for a podium position, and they're still fighting tooth and nail for it. It's still, though, Stephen Gray at the lead of this group. Now, what is going to happen here with Gerald Henry? He looks to the inside. Is it going to be another late braking manoeuvre? It is, and Brodior has the move round the outside there. Amazing stuff, and you get the feeling this is just going to go on lap after lap after lap after lap with these two here. Gerald Henry, though, still side by side with Brodior here. And there's only so many more laps that this can actually go on, because the two of them are just going to get a little bit closer here. And there we go. Brodior somehow was on the inside line. So Brodior takes that 5th position back from the 147 of Gerald Henry here. Oh, and he gets it all sorts of sideways coming up through the chicane. And this, unfortunately, this is This is what we see from Brodie time and time again. Incredibly talented youngster, but he give it to about lap 5 or 6, and he starts pushing the car way too hard. He starts pushing it beyond what the car can do. And my goodness me, I wish it had that grip, because he would just be able to run rings round a lot of these drivers here. But you have to learn where the limits of the car are, and you have to drive to the limits of that car. Thankfully, I think he's got to calm down a little bit here, because it doesn't look like that 147 of Gerald Henry does have an answer here. I might be immediately wrong though, but it didn't look like Gerald Henry was fully alongside at that point. We'll see as the cars come in. Yep, there we go then. So in fact, I've got no idea how that's just happened, but Brodie Orr has now just lost that position to the 147 of Gerald Henry. So out of sight of our corners here, and Brodie Orr still trying to keep the foot in there. The rear wheel caught a little bit of the grass there, and they're going to be side by side again, and this is incredible action. Gerald Henry did exactly what Brodie Orr did that last lap round, got it all wrong, too much power, into the chicane, and oh my goodness me. This is, again, I have to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, this is a battle for 5th position. Stephen Gray and Liam McGill are up into the distance. They're not even fighting or up into the inside there. Is going to try and drive that 147 of Gerald Henry up wide. Now this is going to bring in Peter Cruikshank into the mix as well. So there we go, a little bit of airtime for Brodie Orr. He's still on to the back of Gerald Henry here. It's still Stephen Gray from Liam McGill. That gap has opened up to about a second. Look at Peter Cruikshank. He fancies the mix in this as well. Unbelievable action here from our Fiesta STs right now. Who's that in the background? That's Lorne Murray. Lorne Murray fancies getting involved with this 4-car battle as well. This is turning into an absolute street fight right now. More rallycross action from Brodie Orr. Complete disregard for any of the curbing there. And I think that might have given Gerald Henry a little bit of respite there. Because have a look at Lorne Murray side by side with Peter Cruikshank. You'd have to get up way earlier in the morning to catch Peter Cruikshank out like that on the final corner there. But it does look like that's a bit of a gap there for Gerald Henry right now. A little bit of a breather. And was that Kieran Preedy that I just saw there as well? Now that's a huge thing, because we didn't see Kieran Preedy. He went into the pit lane from the red flag, and now suddenly he's right onto the back of Lorne Murray as well. So, and he's on the same lap. So Kieran Preedy, this is a heck of a recovery drive. He's past Lorne Murray. So Kieran Preedy is up into 8th position right now. Peter Cruikshank doing a little bit of Tokyo drift out of the chicane there, coming up to Clark Corner. That car absolutely begging for any sort of traction whatsoever, but it's not going to happen. Kieran Preedy has already got his sights set on that number 61 in front of him. Brodie Orr now has dropped massively off the back of Gerald Henry. It doesn't look like that one is going to be happening anytime soon. Stephen Gray comes across the line to cut off another lap, and there we go. We completely missed it. We were so engaged with the fight between Henry, Brodie Orr and Peter Cruikshank that we missed the checkered flag. We missed the fact that Stephen Gray won that race by over a second on Liam McGill. Ian Blackley in 3rd position. I'm going to have to go and have words with Gerald Henry and Brodie Orr and Peter Cruikshank, because I've never seen it where we've been so obsessed with a race for 5th place that we've just completely missed the top 3 drivers. Absolutely speechless on that one as well. I didn't even notice it was the last lap. I'm absolutely devastated that that race is over. That was absolutely fantastic. Definitely one of the races of the weekend so far. Huge congratulations to Stephen Gray. I'm also noticing Liam McGill going very, very slowly. Is Liam McGill with a problem? Now that is going to be a big issue if that is the case here. He opens up the door of the car. Liam McGill might have to... now obviously he's past the checkered flag here, so he'll get that 2nd place, but this could be a big issue going into Parc Fermé. Now you can see a little whiff of what looks like smoke or steam as he opened that bonnet there, but Well, that could have huge implications on race 2 there. And, well, there you go. Stephen Gray, though, taking the race win. Liam McGill, he's not looking too happy just now, safe to say. But great for the second place for him. Ian Blackley in third position. It's going to be Andrew Mackey in fourth. Gerald Henry, after that amazing battle with Brodie Orr, finishes in fifth position. Brodie Orr in sixth. Peter Cruikshank in seventh. Kieran Preedy in eighth position. Ninth position in Lauren Murray. Lucy Hales-Mayfair is going to finish in 10th position. Nick Forsyth in 11th. And then Stuart Murray will finish in 12th positions. But the car's making their way into the Holden area now. And Andy, I know you were in the room with us in the commentary box watching that unfold. I've never seen such a crazy, crazy race for fifth position.
Yeah, pure drama there from Brodie Orr, really putting on a show. But it's this man, Stephen Gray, who takes the win in the opener here in the Fiestas. Of course, Liam McGill did the double last time out at Cadwell Park to tie the championship standings, but it is Stephen Gray who will take a 5-point lead here going into the final race later on this afternoon. Of course, side by side with the restart, and they got the jump on Liam to go into the lead and take the win here today. So Stephen Gray will be more than happy with that one, I suspect, in the number 24 car. And we'll grab a quick word with him now.
I very much am more than happy with that one.
Stephen, I mean, that was a massive result for you,
yes.
And you must be over the moon, yes.
Absolutely massive. I had a real horror story at Cadwell Park there where I lost a lot of points. Liam and I got in joint equal on points to this round there, and really, to be honest, I was saved by the restart there. You know, it was off the line. There really wasn't much between us. I don't think I would have caught him if it wasn't for the restart. I think it was probably about the same for him, his jump off the line, but oof, it's close, isn't it? Only 5 points in it now.
Definitely. I mean, that must give you a lot of confidence as well going into the second race later this afternoon.
It does, yeah. Car's feeling good, you know, new engine in it after Cadwell Park, so it felt good, so yeah, fingers crossed.
Great stuff. Well done, Stephen.
Thank
Congratulations.
You. Cheers, thank you.
Stephen Gray taking the win in the opener here today in the Fiestas. He'll be very, very pleased with that one. Let's get a quick chat with the Triple C man here, and wow, what a race! I mean, we had the red flag as well to contend with. Yep. What was your kind of thoughts going into that and into the restart? Were you trying to maybe make a move, or was it, there was a lot of action as well behind to contend with?
There was a lot of action behind, but I had a bad start the first time, so it was making sure I got a good start the second time, to be quite honest, to kind of keep my position, and then it was just a case of hanging on. Obviously, the guys in front are really quick, so. And Andy, I think it is, that finished in fourth. He was keeping me honest as well. He was very, very close at a few occasions. So no, it was really good. So we're halfway with the car. It was going well. So yeah, excellent.
Yeah. So what's the kind of game plan going into the second race this afternoon?
I think I might change some suspension settings, to be quite honest. I think I could be kind of improving a wee bit. So we'll see if that makes a difference. So all good.
Good stuff. Best of luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
Let's grab a very quick chat with Kieran Preedy, because he had quite an eventful race, it has to be said. There was a look like had to pull the car into pit lane, maybe a potential issue with it, but back out, and a very strong performance from him. So let's grab a quick chat with the number 21 driver, Kieran Preedy. Kieran, just sum up your emotions after that one. Quite an eventful race for you.
Yeah, very eventful. I'm not quite sure what happened, to be honest. Yeah, just had a charge from the back of the grid and see what we got, kind of thing. Managed to get ahead of Lorne, which was the big challenge today. So yeah, we started fourth or fifth on the grid. Got up to third on the first lap. Managed to stay there on the second lap and then lost all power. So we came into the pits and we didn't really do anything to the car. It just seemed to start back up again. Then we went back out and yeah, started from the pit lane and seemed to, I don't know what happened after that. It was just all a charge and go. Yeah. So yeah, all good.
Excellent. So do we just have a quick look at the car just in this little interval ahead of the second race, just to try and iron out any potential gremlins?
Yeah, I guess see what happens. Yeah, it just seemed to bog down in second, kind of coming out of the corner. But no idea what happened. But bit of a pain, so we would have been third. Yeah, would have been third and a first for the challenge as well. But oh well, it's fine.
Oh, good stuff. Kieran, congratulations, best of luck for the second race. Kieran Preedy there, and we've just of course got the next race about to get underway in a few moments' time, so I'll hand back to Dave Christie in the commentary box.
Thanks very much there, Andy Alston, down there in the holding area. And we move on because it is time for the Scottish Mini Cooper and Mini Cooper S Cup in association with Project 21 Detailing and powered by Yokohama Tyres. So, where did we leave off then? The R53s, it was Craig Blake and Jamie Blake who shared the honours in the R53s, Andrew Lallant taking third position. But it was Neil Hose who won our first race of the day ahead of Ian Munro and Chad Little after, it's safe to say, a fairly eventful race. We'll be hoping for more of that in our next race coming up in just a couple of seconds' time. The car's making our way out just now as we speak. So if you have just joined us, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the SMRC live race day here in August, sponsored by Reese Motorsport Insurance. Dave Christie here on the commentary with you. And as we said, in association with Project 21 Detailing, supported by Yokohama, this is one of the jewels in the crown of Scottish motorsport, the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. And this has been one of the staples of Scottish motorsport. This was the place to cut your teeth if you were an up-and-coming racing driver. The likes of Rory Butcher have been here, Aidan Moffat, Chris Smiley. Aidan Moffat actually is one of the drivers that I remember vividly on one of my first visits to the touring cars back in about, I think it was about 2008 and 2009. He was, maybe it was later on than that actually. He was supposed to have been debuting in the touring cars, and there was a technical fault with his car, which meant that he ended up jumping into the Mini Coopers for that for the support class, and was just absolutely outrageously fast. So seen as one of the icons here in Scottish motorsport. Let's have a look at the grid then for our second race of the Mini Cooper Cups then. As we said, the 53s, the turbo variant of the Minis, they're out in force as well. 3 cars there, Craig Blake, Jamie Blake and Andrew Lamont as they finished in the first race. Row 1 of the next race, though, for the Mini Coopers is going to be Neil Hose alongside Ian Munro. Then you've got Chad Little on row 2. He is going to be alongside Ian Munro. So it's going to be alongside Gordon Long. Then you've got Daniel Patterson on row 3 alongside Ryan Smith. Dan Martin alongside Ewan Robertson. Then you've got Nick Ormiston alongside Chris Coburn. Andrew Bell alongside Stephen Morrison. David Taylor and Finn Mash. Now, they'll be starting on the same road together. Interesting to see what happened between those two, because those two came together. We caught the tail end of the incident. Those two cars were sitting stationary on the exit of Duffus Dip on the infield there. So again, we need to find out what happened there. Jack Irvin in the back of the grid there alongside Michael Weddle. Now, we have been assured that the issues from Michael Weddle, it was a drive shaft failure, it caused significant damage, wasn't able to get fixed in time for race 1, but has now been fixed, and Michael Weddle should be taking to the grid. Now, we'll see here, because obviously the cars will be weaving about, and there he is. Smiley, happy Michael Weddle has taken to the grids. And do you know what? That's actually part of a joke. It's not totally a joke, because Michael Weddle is probably one of the cheeriest, happiest, bubbliest guys out there on the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup grid out there. Very, very friendly lads. Albeit until you cross him. From all intents and purposes, I have seen Michael Weddle unhappy a few times. Usually it's while storming his way off to the steward's office to complain about something. But such is life with the Mini Cooper Cup. I think it's all of the drivers, from the sounds of it, got sleeping bags up there in race control. Such is the level of action that you get here. But again, on that note, that's what makes it so entertaining. This has always been regarded and seen as the mini touring cars. This is the kind of the step before you go up into proper saloon car racing. Although some of these drivers have been here for many, many years, and would argue that there is no place that they'd rather be. They feel very much at home in these little Mini Coopers. So just to remind you then, as we said, the R53s currently led by Craig Blake, and then Neil Hose on pole position for the Mini Cooper Cup. But the cars making their way through just now. And it's going to be a 12-lap race. So again, perfect conditions, looks like, outside. All of the overcast conditions that we had earlier on this morning have pretty much cleared way. It is beautiful, patchy blue skies that we've got here at Knockhill. The clouds have parted, the sunshine is out, which means that the cars are going to be a little bit more slidey, a little bit more tricky to deal with, and a little bit more of a handful. And they already do tend to be quite a handful as well. You do see the rear end kicking out quite a bit. Now, with this being race 2 of race 3, I think everybody's going to be crossing their T's and minding their P's and Q's on this one. And then on race 3, usually it's a little bit more aggressive. You can see the 28 there of David Taylor there making his way on. David's a driver that I've spoken to at great lengths, has been one that's I would say had to do a lot of personal development, a lot of dealing with racing in a pack. I think he's done a great job of adjusting to that, maturing and developing as a race driver, and he'll be one to certainly watch today. As will that man at the back, the number 1 of Michael Weddle. The 1 minute board gets held out. The green flag flies here. We are ready to go racing for the second of the Mini Cooper Cup races here at Knockhill. 30-second board will be held out. Again, what to expect? Expect Craig Blake, Jamie Blake and Andrew Lamont to rocket off into the distance. Those are far more powerful cars that are racing in the R53s, turbocharged variants. They will be off and they will be having a ball of a time. They will just be doing their own thing, and away we go. The lights are on and we go racing here at Knockhill then. 4 cars wide at the start of the race. That's exactly what you expected, ladies and gentlemen, and for the Mini Cooper Cup race. But there you go, Neil Hose now in the lead of that gaggle of cars there. Flymo, Michael Weddle, already has not just cut the grass, he's cut the field. He's beaten about 6 cars, and he's not even 3 corners into this race right now. Neil Hose, though, ahead of Ian Munro, still Chad Little in 3rd position. You just saw Michael Weddle coming through about 5 cars up from where he was already. And look, we're already resuming the action. Craig Blake and Jimmy Blake side by side, and that is the 19 of very, very, very wide indeed. Nick Orbiston tries to do a little bit of rallycross here with the minis. Up the inside goes Gordon Long then. Up the inside of the 17 of, the 18 of Nick Patterson there, tries to make it happen. How is Michael Weddle already up into 10th position already? That is ridiculous skill from him. In fact, he's already up even further. Back with the battle with the Blakes there, still fighting it out as well. I'm keeping an eye here for Michael Weddle. Yep, 10th position looks to be where he is right now. We've got a battle for 4th that is headed off by Gordon Long right now. The cars coming through, Butchers up over through the chicane then, and it's only going to be a matter of time. You can see Dan Martin in the 99 Mini there, in that white Mini at the back of that 5-car fight for 4th position there. So the Mini Coopers just making their way down into the hairpin just now. That's a look on the inside there. Dan Patterson tries to make a move up the inside of Gordon Long, gets it done. That looked very tentative from Gordon Long there. Tries to close the door on the 94, Ryan Smith. That's never going to work. They're going to be side by side going across the start-finish line, but Gordon Long keeps that position here. So you've got a 3-car fight for 1st, 2nd and 3rd there, and have a look up at the front then of that 4th position battle right now, as we keep our eye on this little battle for 1st place in the main Mini Coopers. Neil Hose still ahead of Ian Munro right now. Chad Little holding on to that battle as well. He's going to keep as close to those two as he possibly can. Gordon Long, though, starting to get sent backwards, and Weddle's progress through the field seems to have stalled a little bit. He's not making the same lightning manoeuvres that he was able to earlier on here. Neil Hose gets a little bit of a gap opened up ahead of Ian Munro. Chad Little Well, let's have a look at this. 3 wide down the back straight, ladies and gentlemen. Almost 4 wide. Weddell fancies a piece of this as well. Up the inside. That's a 3-3-3 of Ewan Robertson. Weddell now, in the space of 2 corners, has gone from 10th to what looks to be 6th position. Maybe even 5th. We'll keep an eye on the time screens he comes across just now. But that is absolutely outrageous from Michael Weddell there. Great, great stuff to see. Back with the battle for the leaders of the main race then, as Neil Hose still leads Ian Munro and Chad Little in that 3rd position. That's a little bit wide from both your race leaders right now. And there is Michael Weddell. P5 it is for him already. Chaos behind him. I mean, it's almost like you just don't know where to look with everything going on. It's so much action always kicking off here. That's C22 going up the inside there. That's Finn Mash trying to undo some of the damage there. A little bit of contact there with Dan Martin still going on. And that is going to be a move up for P14, I believe, at the moment. And there we go. Now Neil Hose is in a little bit of trouble because Ian Munro right onto the back end of your race leader here for the Mini Cooper Cup. And what's happening is it looks like Neil Hose starting to overdrive that car. Maybe the tyres are starting to squeal a little bit, or maybe the car's starting to come back to Ian Munro. That wouldn't make sense, though, because that's meaning Chad Little still back into the mix here as well. And now we've got a huge, huge battle going on. Ian Munro firmly tucked into that slipstream then of Neil Hose right now. Looks to the outside there. Is it going to be a cutback onto the inside there? No, tries to keep as much power and as much pace through that corner as he possibly can here. Oh, and there we go. That is going to be contact. That's going to be Neil Hose into the gravel. Ian Munro gets away with that one scot-free. And Neil Hose is not going to be impressed with that whatsoever. Big damage on the front left of that car of Ian Munro there. And that means that Chad Little now in the prime position to make a move and make this stick here and see what exactly he can do. We've only got a couple of laps left to go here. So we're keeping our eye on the start-finish line there because it's going to be the last lap very, very shortly indeed. But Ian Munro in the lead of the race ahead of Chad Little. Then in 3rd place is going to be the number 18 of Dan Patterson. Oh, and that's a big power slide coming down through the hill there. Chad Little, you get the impression he's just biding his time. He's just waiting, poised, ready to go. You can see that big damage on the front left of Ian Munro's car. Here is your overall race leaders, though. This is Craig Blake, Jamie Blake, and Andrew Lamont all going into the final corner. Lamont loses that position out to Jamie Blake, to Jamie Blake, who gets across the line there. And there we go, we've got a battle for the lead as well. It's Chad Little side by side with Ian Munro. There's been a mistake on the exit of Clark's here, and this is going to be a drag race here. But have a look in the background as well. Dan Patterson, he wants to get a mix into this as well. Ian Munro's going to go from 1st to 3rd in the space of a lap. Unbelievable drama here with just what looks like 2 laps left to go. Chad Little in the lead of the race now from absolutely nowhere. Dan has had to jump back out of it. Dan Patterson can't quite make that move stick, so it's still going to be Ian Munro from Neil Hose and Chad Little. Unbelievable. Excuse me, sorry, it's Chad Little in the lead from Ian Munro and our number 18 car of Dan Patterson. My brain just completely stopped working there. for the briefest of moments, and Chad Little now having to throw everything he can. You can see the debris hanging off the back of that car, that rear bumper just absolutely uselessly hanging on by a thread on the back end of that car. Now, what is going to happen here with Ian Munro? Is he going to fancy and move up the inside? Neil Ho's away in the background there, trying to catch on to this tail of this group here, but you get the feeling that it's already done and dusted. Very heavy onto the brakes there for Chad Little. You can see the 18 of Dan Patterson still trying to get involved as well. But this race just feels like it just does not end, and you don't want it to end either. Here is your R53s though. Let's keep an eye on this, because this is a huge battle going on right now. It's currently Craig Blake ahead of Jamie Blake right now, ahead of Andrew Lamont. The two of them, the three of them, almost three abreast going into the final corner. Still side by side, Lamont tries to get the better run out of it, and it's still nose to tail. Remember earlier on when I said there's only 3 R53s in this race, and they still don't care. They just absolutely have a whale of a time. Well, that is exactly what they're doing, and that is exactly what's happening here. Chad Little still just ahead of Ian Munro. They've dropped the gap to Dan Patterson a little bit. There's a move up to the inside. This is going to be late on the brakes for Ian Munro. Thinks better of it. He's just trying to stay in the mirrors. He's going to have to be careful with that bumper though, because it's hanging off. What he doesn't want to do is tear any of the tyre whatsoever or get any sort of mechanical injury to that car. Seeing out the corner of my eye there, Michael Weddle up into P4 as well. An amazing recovery drive from Michael Weddle here. But Chad Little still leading ahead of Ian Munro and Dan Patterson here. This is an amazing fight that's going on. Up over through the chicane into Clark Corner then. Again, Munro just stalking the back end of that car in front of him. Down into the final hairpin. What can Munro do? Looks right, looks left. He's going to try and be late on the brakes. He is late on the brakes, but Chad Little has the measure of it, runs that car out as wide as you like, and he's going to have to get up way earlier to make anything happen with that going on right now. I think this has been the longest Mini Cooper Cup race in existence as Ian Munro tries to go right the outside, late on the brakes in the McIntyres. We've almost got 3 wide going into Butchers. He has to duck back in, and there goes Dan Patterson up the inside, side by side into the chicane. They've pulled themselves into sanity as somehow all 3 cars make their way through there. It's still Chad Little from Ian Munro and Dan Patterson. And look at Michael Weddle. Somehow Flymo from the back of the grid is now on this front group. There's still what looks like 2 laps left to go. And no word of a lie, Weddle could get himself onto the podium right now at the very least. Munro takes it to the outside ahead of Chad Little. Can't quite make that work here, but Weddle is firmly into this battle for the lead of the race. I cannot believe what I am seeing here just now. Last lap board gets held out, so here we go. This is going to be the drive of all drives for Michael Weddle. If he can get himself onto the podium of this race, it's still Jamie Blake from Craig Blake and Andrew Lamont here. And there goes Munro late on the brakes again, rounds into McIntyres, tries to get the undercut. It looks like a good exit, but not good enough to get Chad Little. And Michael Weddle still just poised, waiting. And there we go, the R53s come across the line. It's going to be Jamie Blake, I believe, ahead of Craig Blake and Andrew Lamont. So they take the checkered flag, but we have to keep our eye back with the Mini Cooper Cup. Weddle does a little bit of rallycross as well into the gravel. What is Ian Munro going to try and do onto Chad Little? It's all going to rest on this, isn't it? It's all going to be down to the final hairpin then. Who's going to brake latest? A little wiggle of the brakes there from Ian Munro, but it looks like it's going to be Michael Weddle trying to make it round the outside. That's not going to happen here. It's surely going to be Chad Little ahead of Ian Munro, although it could be Michael Weddle. He could make it across the line. It's going to be side by side. Weddle takes third! Unbelievable finish from the back of the grid. Michael Weddle takes third position ahead of Dan Patterson in one of the most outrageous recovery drives I think I've ever seen with the SMRC. That was ridiculous driving there. Unbelievable action. And I tell you what, that race alone, every single spectator just got their money's worth today. That was amazing action. Wow. I'm going to need about a week to lie down after that race. That was spectacular stuff there. They can see here your R53s coming through just now. As we said, Craig Blake ahead of Jamie Blake and Andrew Lamont there. The R53s, we didn't even get much of a chance to even see them because of how dramatic that race was for the Mini Coopers. Detailing for being race partners on that one. A huge thank you to Yokohama Tyres as well. Oh my days, that was absolutely fantastic stuff there. Really one of the better races that we've had today, and we've still got a third race to go later on this afternoon. So the cars making their way round into the grid just now. They're away into the holding area. And Andy Alston, I hope you brought me a pillow and a sleeping bag because they are going to be heading through very, very shortly. So just give it a couple of minutes and we'll head into the holding area. Andy Alston's ready. Just waiting on his glorious assistant, Anthony Hollings, to get himself into the holding area with his nimble camera work. But what a race that was. That was absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed every single second of it. No word of a lie. That was brilliant stuff. So that is going to be huge championship implications for that one. And in just a couple of minutes' time, we'll head over to the holding area and we'll have a chat with Andy Alston in just a minute's time. Right, and as if by magic, over in the holding area, Andy, I hope you've got a pillow and a sleeping bag, mate, because I need a rest after that one.
Dave, fantastic action there in the Mini Cooper S Cup and the Mini Cooper Cup as well. But it was Craig Blake, car number 95, taking the win ahead of Jamie Blake with Andrew Lamont. Final step on the podium for him. We'll grab a quick chat here just with Jamie Blake initially, just to get his thoughts after that. But Jamie, another entertaining race at the front for you guys. How was that one for you?
It was really hard work again, same as the first race. Just close between all three of us. Every one of us had the lead at some point. Andy looked like he was maybe going to get away with it for a while, and he had a few mistakes himself. Maybe the car sliding about more later on in the race, and that was really tough. And mine seems to be yeah, it's all spraying on us now. I think a stone maybe from Andy's car has punctured the radiator, so hopefully it's okay.
Yeah, fingers crossed it'll be all right. It looked like the hairpin was the opportunity for making moves in this one.
Yeah, definitely. It's the easiest place to do it because it's after a big straight, so you can get on the back of someone and then try and make a move if they're not defending, or go around the outside. So good fun.
Good stuff, Jamie. Mate, congratulations. Well done. Jamie Blake there, second place in the Mini Cooper S Cup. We'll grab a quick chat. A couple other drivers as well here. Of course, so many big talking points in that race here today. We'll grab a quick word with a couple of them and get their thoughts on this one. One man there, Michael Weddle, want to get a chat with him at some point, but let's get a quick chat with Craig Blake, car number 95. Craig, another entertaining race at the front with you guys in the Mini Cooper S Cup, and you must be very thrilled to come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 out of 2 today. Pole position, can't really go much better than that. I did go to let Jamie through because he's obviously heading the points for the championship. I've got to win every race, and Jamie needs a DNF, so of course I don't want him not to finish. So I went to let him through, but last lap we caught the back markers in the Coopers, and there was a gap there, and I was going to get caught by Andy otherwise, and I want second. If it's not first, I want second, so had to go for the first. So, but as I say, got next event, and hopefully Jamie can go and do the championship, because one Blake needs to have it.
Good stuff. Craig, thanks very much for speaking to us. Craig Blake there taking the win in the second race here in Mini Cooper S Cup. We'll get a quick chat here with one man who's had arguably, I would say, probably the drive of his career, certainly the drive of his season. Michael Weddle putting that car on the podium. Fantastic driving there. Many congratulations.
Cheers, Frank. You know, it was one of those races where you know you needed to do it for the championship. You know, starting from the back, and Chad was only 6 points behind, and he was right at the front end. I knew I needed to have a good start. I think I got up to like 9th or something after lap 1, and it was just a case of trying to pick off everyone one lap at a time and keep it steady. So no, I'm just delighted to get onto the podium after all of that.
How important was the start for you? Because you really made up a number of places there, and that just gave you the momentum and the confidence as well to really take the fight to the rest of the pack.
You know, in my head, I was like, if I can get the top 10 after lap 1, a podium's on. Because you've got to get through the carnage of lap 1 safely, but also get through the pack. So the boys at Minimax have done a great job. You know, they've had a hard couple of hours this morning trying to get it all fixed, but we got it fixed in the end there. And I'm glad I could reward their hard work with a podium.
Absolutely. And what's the kind of the plan going into the final race here later on this afternoon? Do you think you can maybe try and put a bit of pressure on the guys? Also, Chad's had a good weekend so far as well, but again, taking a lot of confidence into the finale.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, we need to just carry that on now and just go for the win, really. You know, for the sake of the championship now. So I think we're now lying second in the championship, so it's just a case of maximising the points we can get, so we'll be going for the win.
Stuff, Michael. Very well done. Many congratulations, Michael Weddle there, putting that car on the final step of the podium, considering they started right at the back of the pack. Very strong performance from him. But the next race is just about to get underway, so I'll hand you back to Dave Christie in the commentary box.
Thanks very much, Andy Alston. So we get a chance to breathe and relax and try and figure out what on earth we just watched there. Michael Weddle obviously very happy that he could undo some of the damage that was done earlier on during the race, but you can see there our track staff just want to make sure that the track is in tip-top condition there. The legends are going to be heading round and making their way through, and you can see there just of all the work that goes on. So up next is the legends. It's the second race for them, guesting as part of the championship this weekend. They're very welcome return guests here at Knockhill. Of course, they race at Knockhill as part of the KMSC, and they're guesting here at SMRC for 2 of the weekends over the championship. And yeah, like I said, great to welcome them back with open arms. They spoiled us in race 1 with with a performance that was worthy of the rest of the races that we've had so far. And yeah, you can see there, obviously, the cars in the pit lane. So they're ready to go there. Just to remind you about what these cars are. These cars are Legends cars. They're 5/8 scale racers. They're based on pre-war machine, pre-war cars, based on the likes of the Ford, Chevys, and Dodge bodies. Now, originally, it got itself started in America. Has been massively successful over here in Europe. There's a huge scene in the likes of Italy, in the likes of France, nationally here in the UK, and Scotland has always had a very, very strong legend contingent. Great to see the numbers coming back up. It's a 122 brake horsepower Yamaha engine that is sealed and is inside the car, so they're all as identical as they can be. They're all on controlled tyres, and you can see these really do earn the name Pocket Rockets. Our very own Duncan Vincent is part of the Knockhill commentary team. He was taking part in the past couple of seasons with mixed success, won quite a few races here in the Scottish Legends. Now it would appear that he's quite happy to sit behind the scenes and have a chat about it instead, but always used to tell me about how wild and how much fun these cars were to drive. So let's have a look at our grid for the second race for the Scottish Legends Championship then. Ryan McLeish, pole position alongside Peter McKernan on row 1. Row 2 is going to be Stuart Black alongside Stuart Robertson. Row 3 is going to be Elby Clark alongside Scott Smith. Mark Fresh is going to be alongside Ben Mason on row 4. Row 5 is going to be Mark Reed alongside Pino Palazzo, Ben McNee and Brent Bowie in row 6. And then Billy Waite at the back of the grid there, 7th place in the number 17 car. So that is who we have got out there just now. Again, what sets this slightly differently is the fact that this is a rolling start. The cars are going to be already moving when the race begins. So the safety car will come round that final hairpin. You can see the lights going off now to signify to the drivers. They all have these race logic, race radio systems inside, so race control can constantly talk to all of the drivers. They'll be told to take the holding start procedure. The car will peel off, the safety car will peel off, and then it'll be up to the lead car to take them through the start of the race. And they have to keep going until the line. They only go at the line. That's the key thing here. The red light will go off, and we get to go racing very, very shortly. Away we go then, and the race underway. So it's a great start up at the front of the field there. And just keeping an eye as the car's coming down through Duffus Dip then for the first time of asking. And it's the 71 car that's up in the lead of the race then. That is Ryan McLeish, who makes his way right at the start of this as well. And again, you can see just how tidy and how clean the start of the race is. Scott Smith as well in there as part of the action. So again, we have to give these cars a lap or two just to get things going here. But what a race we've got so far going on. And that's going to be around the outside. That's a 52 of Stuart Black in second place there. You can see a huge move up the inside from about 3 car lengths back there. It looked like managed to get that pulled off there. And we go into start lap number 2. Glorious sound from these bike-engined machines as Stuart Black takes the lead of the race. Into McIntyre's then. Great start, and Stuart Black has done everything that he needed to get off to an absolute flyer. You can see just in the background there as well. That is one of the other cars just making his way through. I'm interested to see what Billy Waite has done in the 17 as well, just because Billy Waite had a terrible start in that first race there. But you can see the 71, Ryan McLeish, still trying to hold on to the back of that group there. That's a 23 in the background. Sorry, 22 of Ben Mason trying to get into that as well. You've got the 17 up the inside there. And that's a great move by Billy Waite. So that's exactly who we wanted to see. And Pino Palazzo in the 75 there, having to tuck in back behind the tail end of Billy Waite there. So it's like a gaggle of pogo sticks coming over the hill here at Knockhill. The car's bouncing about over the bumps here. Very stiff suspension there as we see Stuart Black still in the lead of this race here. Again, over the crest of the hill here, and we're seeing Stuart Black under real pressure actually from Ryan McLeish. Ryan McLeish has a look up the inside, side by side, gets the toe. It's going to be a move under braking. Job done. Can Stuart Black get the cut back though? That is going to be the key question. You have to be so patient, you have to be so careful getting back onto the throttle with these things, because there is so much power available under your right foot. Down through Duffus Dip again, the car squirreling under braking there. And again, already on to lap 3 here. And the other thing as well is, as we saw time and time again, those cars just want to dance about as the rubber really struggles to get any sort of grip, any sort of purchase onto the tarmac here. And again, apologies about the interruption in the video feed. We'll get that fixed as soon as we possibly can. But never mind, because round the outside, that's going to be Stuart Black trying to go round the outside there. You saw a little bit of a bump draft up the back straight there, and we heard about that all about in race 1 there. Stuart Black does like to push the cars to absolutely do what they can. And again, you can see the 71 there. Ryan McLeish really, really struggling to keep that car pointing in the straight direction. Over the crest of the chicane again, Stuart Black still locked in on the tail end of that car. Also seeing though that 22 of Ben Mason not really able to make any major inroads onto that car. It seems to be stuck in no man's land there. And again, locked onto the bumper there is Stuart Black onto the tail end of Ryan McLeish there. And again, they make their way round. Down onto the brakes then into McIntyre's, and again now we're starting to see Ben Mason. He's starting to have a little bit more of a say in this battle here, because if these two keep the action up, if these two keep fighting the way that they're doing, that's going to bring Ben Mason, into this fight here. Again, it's a proper 3D chess match that you've got going on at the same time, because you've got all these moving pieces that mean that these drivers are not just fighting themselves, but they're fighting all of these other variables that are going on. They're fighting cars that are going to be attacking them in, say, 6 laps time here. And that's a great exit from the corner from Stuart Black onto the back of Ryan McLeish here. You can see, again, Ben Mason just looks like he's edging ever closer right now. Out of McIntyre's then, and again, just watching the tail end of these cars just washing out is something else. It really is. Has a look to the inside, then to the outside again, but can't quite make anything happen here. And again, all of this weaving about between these two right now. You can see locked onto the back end then. Stuart Black pushing that car as fast as it physically can go. And I think Ryan McLeish is now getting to the point where he's like, yeah, can you please stop that actually? I'm quite happy going under my own steam here. But Stuart Black is going to be very mindful that now Ben Mason is catching the two of them at a rate of knots. Last lap board held out here for another stunning race of the legends here. And it's a case of blink and you'll miss it with this race here. Over Duffus Dip for the final time then. What is Stuart Black going to do then? He looks to the outside, then tries to look to the inside on Ryan McLeish. This has just been stalemate for the entirety of the race here. It's going to have to be up into Clark's or into the final corner then. Tries to go around the outside, but look at Ben Mason now. Ben Mason firmly in with a shout of this one as well. Stuart Black trying to get into the toe, and Ryan McLeish having absolutely none of it. The two of them side by side going to be coming into this final corner on the final lap then. It's going to be Ryan McLeish. Ben Mason late at the brakes, moves the car to the inside. He may have done just enough to take second place. Ben Mason out of absolutely nowhere. It's going to be a race win for the 71 of Ryan McLeish. Second place for Ben Mason. Third place for Stuart Black. And oh my goodness me, yet again, another absolutely stunning finish here for the SMRC. The legends never fail to disappoint. You've got cars side by side in the background there. Goodness me, I think Billy Waite actually got 4th position there. And they will be very, very, very happy with that one. So Ryan McLeish in the 71 taking a race win there. It could have been anybody's race to win there. Ben Mason, though, takes second place. Stuart Black is going to be in 3rd position as well. And again, championship-wise, huge potential. Remember, 200 points for a race win. And there is, about 500 points separating the top 5. At this point in the championship. So really everything to play for. It was a ballsy move by Ben Mason into that final corner there, got the foot down and really made it happen. Ryan McLeish, though, you can see, delighted with that one. Lights up the rear tyres out of the final corner there and makes his way through. And there we go then. So the cars are going to be heading round into the holding area, and very shortly they'll be having a chat with Andy Alston, telling us about how everything has been. But yeah, there we go then. Ryan McLeish, Ben Mason, Stuart Black on the podium for that race. The cars roar past us here in the commentary box. They're away ahead into the holding area where Andy Alston is waiting for them. Andy, again, what we expected from the Legends cars though, but yeah, that got wild towards the end.
Yeah, certainly did, Dave. Ryan McLeish taking the checkered flag there in the second event here in the Legend. But what a move by Ben Mason into the hairpin as well. Just getting the better of Stuart Black, who takes the final step of the podium. We'll grab a quick chat in a moment with Ryan McLeish, our race winner. He'll be very, very pleased with that result, I suspect. Great drive throughout the front. Had a lot of pressure to contend with as well from start to finish. But Ryan McLeish comes out in the second event here in the Legends. So we'll get his thoughts here in just a moment here. And there he is now. Ryan, many congratulations. A lot of pressure to contend with throughout from both Ben and from Stuart, but you must be delighted to take the checkered flag.
No, definitely. That's what we were hoping for, but Stuart certainly putting the pressure on. I felt like I was defending for half the race. So ultimately, I felt I wasn't necessarily quick, but at the same time, I had to do what I had to do. So, that's what it is. We'll see how we can go in the final, see how we can save again.
So what's the kind of the approach, what's the game plan for the final then? How do you think that'll pan out for you?
We just need to suck it seriously because we're waiting on the grids, but I'll be last or second last on the grid because it's a reverse grid. So we just need to see what we can do.
Well, best of luck out there and great drive there today. Ryan McLeish taking the win in the second race here today. Let's grab a quick chat with Ben Mason, because Ben, that was a terrific move into the hairpin. You couldn't have timed that any better, really.
No, because I could see them, obviously the two of them started first and third and I was kind of eighth, I think, so I knew that they would kind of be a while, I would be a while until I could get through and they would just be gone. So for most of the race I was kind of catching them ever so slightly, and I just wanted them to battle more so I could kind of get back in the mix. But kind of obviously last lap board went out and I could see kind of Stuart kind of get a bit more kind of feisty and all that. So and then just coming out of Clark's, I got a good run out and just picked my moment, and Stuart was on the outside and I just managed just to nip down on the inside behind Ryan to get second place. So but yeah, that was good end to the race. I thought I was just going to kind of finish in third there, so to get a P2 is pretty good.
How important is it just to be smooth with the throttle in these cars as well, and just trying to maximise the power on exit coming out the corners?
Because they're really kind of tail happy, so and obviously you can see we're not running slick, we're kind of running cut tyres, and they are kind of quite hard. So the key is to kind of get the car pointing in a straight line and then just kind of feed the power on. So you don't want to be kind of, if you push it on too soon, you'll be kind of doing donuts on the track. So nah, they're all good, all good.
Congratulations, Ben. Great drive. Ben Mason there taking second place in this race. Let's get a quick chat with Stuart Black there, who takes the final step on the podium. Stuart, what's your thoughts after that one?
I was mugged at the last minute. That was a good race with Ryan. I felt like I was slowing down the last couple of laps. I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but I went to go for the outside. Ryan kind of blocked the inside, and then at the last minute I seen Ben try to dive in inside and a wee tap in the rear, so there's a few slight words, but still the final to try and sort it out.
So what's your kind of approach for that one then? Of course, that's always entertaining in the Legends, but are you hoping to try and just make your way through the field and see where that takes you, really?
Lights out, go, see what happens, find a gap, go for it.
Excellent, look forward to seeing how you get on. Congratulations. Stuart Black taking the final step on the podium here in the second race in the Legends. Dave, back to you.
Thanks very much, Andy Alston, over in the holding area. And wow. Right, time to move on then. Scottish Motor Trade Association Scottish C1 Cup. That is what we have got next for you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you're having a wonderful afternoon, as always, watching the SMRC live stream here, powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. And it's time for race 2 of these plucky little race cars that could. What a race we had there earlier on there, obviously in race 1. Sam Corson ahead of Finlay Brunton and James Hitchin in that last race. Ross Dunn managing to have a decent little outing in that one as well. But really, it was all about Sam Corson. Finlay Brunton having a very sage and open conversation with Andy Alston after our last race there, having a chat and saying that, it was that last lap error that Finlay Brunton had made going into McIntyre's, overcooked it and simply went straight into the gravel that cost him that win on that one. That is by the by. Let's have a look at how they how they grid up for the second race of the afternoon then. Max Watt is going to have pole position along with Andrew Davidson on row 1. It's the top 8 reverse, so Paul Winfield is going to be in third position. The 822 lines up alongside that bright red 23 of Thomas Comer. The number 1 of Ross Dunn is in 5th position on row 3 alongside Finlay Brunton, looking to make amends for that first race earlier on. James Hitchin in 7th position alongside Sam Corson on row 4. Can your race 1 winner make it 2 out of 2? Henry Gillespie is going to be in 9th position alongside Aidan Wilson in row 5. Row 6 is going to be Callum Conway alongside Lazou Benet, and then on row 7 is going to be Mark Nisbet with Rich Flett. Row 8 is going to be Ian Cochrane with John Proctor, and at the back of the grid we hope we've got Gordon Melville, who we saw going straight off into the barrier in race 1. P17 for Gordon Melville. So, there we go. What we can guarantee, like every other race today, this one is going to be pretty intense. That is what we can certainly say for that one. Now, of course, for me, my mind goes back a couple of months. We had that first ever C1 endurance race here at Knockhill. A lot of these protagonists were out there enjoying the sunshine on that day. And sunshine is the word of the day. It's not a word that we're all too used to up here at Knockhill, if I'm being completely honest. But I am being honest. And it's beautiful. It's lovely out there, which means that it's going to be quite pleasant in these little Citroen C1s. So, with the fact that these are your normal, pretty much standard Citroen C1s, they've still got their dash fitted, they've still got the fans in there, they've still got your radio, so they're very likely listening to Duncan Vincent and Dr. Robert Johnson on Knockhill FM 87.7. And that's no word of a lie, because I've seen onboard footage where they're driving round and you can hear them being commentated on halfway round. So obviously giving them some valuable intel about where they are during the race, and why not? So we can still see the green flag off into the background there. The car's ready to go. And this is, again, I've always got such a soft spot for these cars. They are wonderful little machines. They're very plucky. They don't have a lot of power on them, but what they do not have in power, they make up for in sheer fun and boisterousness. You get 20, 30, 40, 50 of these cars on a grid on any racetrack here in the UK or in the world, and I'm going to guarantee you're having an absolute hoot. On the front of the grid then, as we said, Max Watt alongside Andrew Davidson, and we are underway racing yet again here at Knockhill. Great start there from Max Watt. Andrew Davidson, though, looks like got the jump on the outside, though, as the cars come streaming into turn 1. And Thomas Comer, out of absolutely nowhere, the 23, he's got involved in this as well. Paul Winfield fancies having a go. Oh, and there's a bit of contact there on the back of the 88 there. And there's going to be a little bit of argy-bargy going on as they come down the hill. That's the 110 of Callum Conway, who's also got in the mix. So there, you've got cars going everywhere coming over the chicane there, and that is Sam Corson. I'm not too sure how well these cars are designed to do autocross or rallycross, but Sam Corson has decided he wants to find out. But anyway, I mean, for me, the 822 of Paul Winfield has got an absolutely cracking start there. He's up into second place there. You can see the 497 of Max Watt has been absolutely gazumped down into third position there. And that is the 529, of James Hitchin, wiggling and weaving, under braking there. And this is all getting a little bit messy, as it's kind of predictable when you get these reverse grid races and you get drivers who are in front of where they would normally finish on a grid. Then it takes a lap or two for them to all sort themselves out. And my goodness me, does it make it entertaining in the meantime. Meanwhile, in the lead of the race, Andrew Davidson from Paul Winfield. Finlay Brunton up into third position as well. Sends it up the inside into McIntyre's. Job done for Finlay Brunton, although Paul Winfield is going to try and hold on to that position. They're going to go side by side up through Butchers, and Brunton gets sent off. And that is going to be the 23 of Thomas Comer trying to make a move up the inside as well. Paul Winfield, though, held his foot in. Absolutely top job, sir. Well done right there. And that means that that is going to be real heartache there as the number 13 of Finlay Brunton under attack here from Max Watt right now. Side by side coming into the hairpin corner here. And again, you can see that's Ross Dunn in the number 1, having a look up the inside as well here of the 529 of James Hitchin. I mean, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 right now as they come across the line. But again, Andrew Davidson, decent little gap that he's got on this second lap here. He's got, 0.6 of a second ahead of Paul Winfield. Finlay Brunton in third has got a gaggle of cars behind him. He's got Max Watt trying to hold on to that as well. And again, a dip of the wheel into the grass there for Thomas Comer. That's going to be Ross Dunn up the inside, side by side through the chicane. This is never going to work. It does work. Ross Dunn battling late breakers, gets the move done. Ross Dunn up into 6th position. Great job of getting that car up in front there. And that means then that Sam Corson sent behind again. Then the 23 of Thomas Comer getting sent packing the end of this field. However, this is the key thing here. Sam Corson needed to rocket his way up to the front. He's not done that yet. But who has done that is Finlay Brunton. A little bit of a nudge there from Thomas Comer there. I'm sure that's going to go down very well to our former championship leader right now. So the 68 is under all sorts of pressure right now. So there you go, your race leader, Andrew Davidson, in the 70, going down through it, toughest step. But have a look in the background there. Max Watt get it all wrong. And James Hitchin up the inside, as cool as you like. A little bit of leaning going on there, but trying to take that round the outside. Are you kidding me? The 497 of Max Watt just held. Not only did he hold on to it, he's actually just kept that position. That is unbelievable driving round the outside of Butchers, through the outside of the chicane. Max Watt keeps that 4th position. And I tell you what, James Hitchin is going to be left scratching his head after that one, because there's nothing more he could have done. He sent the car in, he had the power on the exit of the corner, and somehow Max Watt was just like, no thank you, sir. Takes the position right back round the outside. Incredible racing here. 7 laps left to go. We're going to have 6 as the cars go this time by, though. It's still Andrew Davidson from Paul Winfield, from Finlay Brunton. Brunton just slowly making his way up through this field here. He's going to fancy taking that position from Paul Winfield very shortly. As the cars come streaming over, Sam Corson still just down in 7th position right now. He's maybe looking towards that race 3 that will be coming later on this afternoon. He's going to be up to the inside of Ross Dunn, though. Can't quite make anything happen. And the thing is you're seeing a lot of these cars, hitting the curb on the inside and bouncing about. And the problem is that takes away the momentum of the car. And actually, it looks cool and it feels amazing in the car itself, but it's so slow. You need to have as much momentum in these little 1 litre cars as you possibly can, because if you lose any momentum, you're going to go backwards at a rate of knots, though. Sam Corson still ahead of Thomas Comer here as, there we go, the 497, and that's the 822 up the inside. So that is Paul Winfield, and somehow has lost not only a position at Finlay Brunton. Now, we missed that because that's the 822 of Paul Winfield back at the 3rd position, and now having to fend off Max Watt, who looks like he's just gone round the outside of that car, has got a nose width in front of that car. This is the battle for 3rd position. One of them's going to have to give right now, but it's still Andrew Davidson ahead of Finlay Brunton. And there you go, the 822 of Paul Winfield holds on that position. Up the inside goes James Hitchin. Unbelievable move. That was very, very brave there. And out of nowhere, Max Watt has been relegated from 3rd position to 4th position. And that means that Paul Winfield, huge moment there for the 497, weaves back across. And that could have been so much worse for the 497 of Max Watt. And that is what happens when you push these cars a little bit too hard. The Red Mist descends, came through the chicane, never had that car afterwards, and was so very, very, very lucky not to put that car right back across the track there and get collected by somebody else. Meanwhile, Sam Corson now from absolutely nowhere. Thomas Comer as well just sent it up the inside. Huge contact with the right-hand side there of Thomas Comer. This is getting very, very messy indeed. And that is going to be Max Watt again. Now, I wonder if there's damage to that car, because either there's something wrong with that car, or he is really, really trying too hard to drive that car now. When you get damage to the car, the driving characteristics of the car changes. It can change in subtle ways, or it can change in huge ways. Oh my goodness me! What was that from Sam Corson? Tokyo Drift, huge moment. Thomas Comer up on his roof, and that's contact onto the curbs. That's almost certainly going to be a red flag. Thankfully, Thomas is going to be absolutely fine in that car, but that was a dramatic, dramatic moment, and that all started from Sam Corson absolutely out of control into McIntyre's. God knows how he didn't hit anybody, but he didn't. He kept the foot in, got the car going again, and then somehow in a completely separate incident, Thomas Comer clips either the curb or the car beside him, and that just knocks the car airborne and up over onto his roof. So we're going to have a fairly lengthy red flag while that car gets recovered. He'll be absolutely fine. These cars are, very, very tough. They've got full roll cage in it. However, it's a thoroughly unpleasant experience being upside down in that car. And obviously you can see on the front left there, a lot of damage on that car. So the cars will be making their way into pit lane. And, well, there you go. That is a wild moment from Thomas Comer. And the car upside down. And, yeah, so you can see just behind, just to point out, ladies and gentlemen, you can see Thomas, as I said, absolutely unhurt from that. You saw him undoing his helmet, and you could see the hands device as well. He'll obviously be a little bit shaken up. He'll be a little bit shocked and possibly a little bit angry that his race car is upside down. But it looks like that is going to be the race finished. We're going to get a checkered flag on that one. So that's going to be Andrew Davidson taking the win from Finlay Brunton and Paul Winfield on that one. But a wild, wild red flag brings a checkered flag out to us on that one. And, well, what can you possibly say on that one? And, normally you need to get the recovery truck out to recover these cars. These C1s, just give about 4 guys and a couple of Weetabix in the morning, and you'll be able to get them righted up nice as you possibly can. And, unfortunately, it's going to be a heavy landing, but it is what it is. Yeah, so you can see there Thomas is... Oh, he's obviously a little bit unhappy about it, but I'm pretty sure I did see a smile there. He's probably just happy that it's done and dusted. But my goodness me, what a race that was. And without further ado, Andy Alston, my goodness me, right? Little 1 litre C1s, how much trouble can they cause? The answer is obviously quite a lot of trouble.
Yes, Dave, it's always a shame to see a race entering with the red flag, but thankfully good to see that Thomas Comer is out of the car and okay. But that brings an early end to the final race here in the Scottish C1 Cup. Andrew Davidson taking the checkered flag ahead of Finlay Brunton with Paul Winfield on the final step of the podium. Let's get a quick chat with Andrew now, who is finishing that one on the top step of the podium. Andrew, maybe not the way you had a right good scrap with Finlay, and race just brought to an early end, unfortunately, but you must be really pleased with your performance.
It was a real surprise result, after qualifying this morning and race one, and then Finlay was coming. I didn't know whether I'd hold him off, and the red flag is like, what's going to happen? So yeah, no, real surprised, but real happy. Yeah, good end to the day.
You must be really happy with the start as well that you got in,
Yes.
and just getting away cleanly and then building from that.
I knew I had to be on it at the start, and it worked. So yeah, and then sort of pulled a little bit of a gap, but yeah, just really pleased.
Good stuff. Many congratulations,
Thank you
Andrew.
very much. Thank you.
Andrew Davison taking the win in the final race here in the Scottish C1 Cup. We'll grab a quick chat with Paul Winfield, who took the final step on the podium there in race number 2. Paul, just sum up your thoughts after that one. You got yourself in the podium, and you're pleased with that one.
We've done a bit of testing yesterday. We've tried a few different things, tyre pressures and stuff, and it's obviously paid off in this race. And it was going good in the first race, but that pit's came on the top. Brilliant, delighted.
Good stuff. And again, it shows the importance as well. Just a little change here and there in the tyre pressures, it can make a big difference as well in terms of performance.
Oh, massively. Even a couple of PSI on the fronts is night and day. Tend to go off a wee bit later in the race, but if you can get away at the start, it makes a big difference. I was starting to go off a wee bit there, but managed to head 5-9 back off, so now I'll take that. Take third, delighted.
Good stuff, Paul. Many congratulations. Paul Winfield there taking the final step at the podium here in race number 2 in the Scottish C1 Cup. We'll grab a quick chat with the man who finished second in the finale, Finlay Brunton, who joins us now. Right, we'll do that, Finlay. We'll take your lead. Finlay, it's been an eventful weekend for yourself. I suspect you were closing in with Andrew. Then the red flag just brings an early end to the race, unfortunately. But just sum up your thoughts on the weekend.
Well, good racing as always. Disappointing first race, I think, with positive aspects, but I think overall it was a negative for me. When I'm not focusing on races now. I'm focusing on the championship. So the rival that I had to beat bet me, so I'm never going to be too happy. But turned it around in race 2. Got a good rake of points. I think it would have been a first place if I had a couple more laps there. But that is what it is. These things happen. It's all motorsport at the end of the day, but I'm just glad to be coming away from another race weekend. Brilliant racing. Not much more damage on the car. A wee bit of persuasion marks, as I call them, but no real damage, so happy.
So what's your kind of mindset going into the finale then? It's a little bit down the line until we get there, of course, but you've been in this situation before. You're used to fighting at the front for championships. What's the kind of game plan going to be for that one?
Yeah, I think the advantage I've got is I am quite experienced with the pressure of it all, so I'm hoping just to kind of take race 1 and race 2, do the best I can, see what results come out the other side.
Excellent. Congratulations, Finlay.
Thanks, man.
Finlay Brunton there, second place in the finale here in the Scottish C1 Cup. Dave, back to you.
Very much appreciated there, Andy. Thank you for that one. So we are getting ready for our next race of the day here, which is going to be the Classics, the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons Championship. That means that Malcolm Smith is going to be joining me in the commentary box very, very shortly. And, well, I say very shortly. It'll take, obviously, a couple of minutes to get that car of Thomas Comer recovered, or what's left of it. I've got to be honest though, I haven't said much of it. I do love the livery on that car. That is a very, very nice looking car. I'm not sure what on earth that is supposed to be on the side of it, but it looks great. Either way, let's have a talk back then, a think back of what we saw in the Classics earlier on. It was another great race from them. Always spoiled with some fantastic racing from the Classics when they are out and about, and that's exactly what we got earlier on today. Sponsored by the Edinburgh Watch Company, it was David Brown who took qualifying. He was on pole position for that race there, and it was a great performance from him. Obviously, what we didn't see is the fact that we didn't see the likes of John Kinman's out there because, as we said, John Kinman had a technical issue with his car, which meant that he couldn't take part in that race. But David Brown took the race win there in his Class C car, in his TVR Griffith. It was a 14-second lead that he had over Andrew Graham in second place in his Triumph TR8. Martin Reynolds finished in third in the guest class, and then Alistair Coates finished in fourth position as well. So again, Colin Calder not finishing. He retired in his Lotus Elan S4. Mario Ferrari retired in the Ferrari 308 GTB, which is a beautiful, beautiful car, and John Kinman did not take the start of this race. So we move on because, as we said, with the Classics, it's their second race of the day in association with the Edinburgh Watch Company. You're watching the SMRC live race stream here, powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. Quite a few races we've got still left to go this afternoon. As I said, we've got the Classics up next. Then we have the second race of the Fiesta ST Cup. It's race 3 for the Mini Coopers, and then it is the Scottish Legends Cars Championship finale. That will be one to watch for sure. So 4 races still to go this afternoon. We've got a little bit of a lull in the action. So we'll step away from the mic for just a couple of minutes, and we'll be back in just a moment for the Classics. So there we go, after a short delay, the car's back out on track then for our next race of the afternoon. It's the final visit from the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons, sponsored by the Edinburgh Watch Company, which means, of course, the wonderful return of Malcolm Smith. Malcolm, welcome back. I know you were out there enjoying all of the other action from some of the previous races there. Obviously, we didn't have John Kinman's taking part in the first race. From your insider knowledge, is that something he's been able to fix for the second one, or is he out for the remainder of the day?
No, sadly he's not able to join the second race. The differential problem that he found upon investigation was too much to repair here trackside, so some new parts will be needed and reassembly before the last meeting, but obviously disappointing for him not to be able to race, and further disappointment because he was leading the championship prior to today's meeting, so he won't be joining this race. Mario Ferrari, another non-starter as well this time. Sadly he won't be out in the race, but yeah, still an excellent grid of cars and ideal conditions for them to go out and enjoy themselves and entertain the public here at the track and those watching on this broadcast as well.
Well, let's see who we do have out on the grid then for the second race of the afternoon for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons. Again, it is the updated entry list that we've got just now. David Brown on pole position alongside Andrew Graham. Martin Reynolds on row 2 alongside Alistair Coates. Charlie Cope alongside Craig Houston. Adam Kinmans in 7th position alongside Jimmy Crow on row 4. Row 5 is going to be Nicky Dixon alongside Ian Mitchell. Row is going to be Michael Anderson and Paul Bowers. Row 7 is going to be Ewan Anderson alongside Ian Morton. And row 8 is Duncan O'Neill in the XR2 alongside David Riley. And at the back, we've got Calder, no Mario Ferrari, as we just had pointed out, and no John Kinmans again in this race. So Colin Calder will be at the back of the grid if he's taken part, because of course he retired in his Lotus Elan in the last race.
Yes, we should see him there at the back. Some repairs in the interval between first and second race carried out, so we expect to see him, and there he is.
Yeah, that is
coming up the brown Lotus Elan car at the rearmost of the shot. Prior to that, in front we see the two O'Neill Racing Fiestas in green and white. Then to the left side, the Osney 40 of Ian Morton, and then the BMW 2002, first time out for that car for Ewan Anderson in his very smart looking left-hand drive BMW, which he purchased in Denmark and has spent a lot of effort getting it up to the standard it is now. So little bit of deficiency in brakes in the first race, but he's carried out some repairs as well, and there he is, ready to race.
Yep, here we go then, the lights on the Cantry Bridge. We get ready for our second race of the afternoon then with the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons, sponsored by Edinburgh Watch Company, and away we go. It's a rocket ship start, as absolutely predicted, with David Brown away off into the sunset with the TVR Griffith. He does have a little bit of company though. Andrew Graham wanting to try and make a race of this. It's not going to last too long because the TVR is absolutely going to muscle itself away. As you can see side by side, that is the Golf GTI, and I believe that might have been Craig Houston that was side by side with that car as well. Beautiful shot of these classic cars coming over the hill at the chicane there. That unmistakable Vauxhall Nova of Ian Mitchell. Racing in a classic sports and saloons race, seeing a Vauxhall Nova is just absolutely pickling my head. It really is. However, David Brown into the final corner already. We're about to scratch off one lap just now. And again, it's those three at the front, David Brown, Andrew Graham and Martin Reynolds, all keeping each other company.
Yeah, Brown's car particularly fast. It runs Class C here, which is the invitation class, so it's not a championship contender because it has modifications which mean that it isn't eligible to be running for championship points, but it's in the spirit of the event, and it's encouraging to see cars of that nature here. But yeah, it certainly has the power and the driving skills of David Brown to keep it ahead, with Andy Graham second there in the 78 TR7, and Martin Reynolds in his white, yellow and blue Escort there, coming into picture in third, with Copes Golf and Alistair Coates in the green MG BV8, and there Craig Houston next up as they come into the hairpin.
Now, just to talk a little bit about the class system that you briefly touched on there. Class A is for cars up to 1.5 litre engines. Class B is 1.5 to 2.5 litre engines. And then Class C, as you said, invitational class for cars that don't comply with the championship regulations, but the organisers still want to kind of offer an olive branch out to. I guess the class was traditionally, it was kind of thought of as classic rally cars, was what they thought of with that class. Class D is for 2.5 to 3.6 litre engines, and then Class E is for engines over 3.6 litres. And then Class F is the Future Classics genre. They just brought that in the past couple of years. That is for mass production sports and saloon cars up to 3.5 litres, manufactured between January 1st, 1985 and December 31st, 1990. And then you've got Class G, which is limited productions sports and saloons, and those can be your more one-off types of affair, so they get a special class just for them. And then you've got your Fiesta XR2s there in the Class H, but we just call that the XR2 class. And actually, Malcolm, just on that note, I just wanted to touch on the fact that, you know, for me, Duncan O'Neill, single-handedly one of the names that's keeping the XR2 kind of dream alive here in Scotland. Does so much work buying the cars, setting them up, getting them all ready to race here, and you know, full credit to him.
Yeah, certainly a great commitment, a labour of love to have them out, and he's got two cars, as we saw, lining up at the start of the race here. Impressive that they're here. He is putting in all the effort to do it, and credit to him that it's something that will encourage others, hopefully, to see the potential in them, and relatively they can race on a lower budget than would be the case on some more expensive and say more highly tuned vehicles. The pit lane there, we see unfortunately a retiree. That's Paul Bauer's Fiat in there, so we've lost him, and we've just
Adam Kinman.
Adam Kinman has spun coming out of the hairpin and is trying to rejoin. He may be able to if there's a bit of traction there for him.
Go on. There's a gear in there somewhere, Adam.
Yes,
go for it, lads. There we go. Slowly but surely.
Just allowing others to pass safely.
He does remember that Knockhill have got his address for sending out the grass repair bill on that one. That's I think he's given up. He's saying our heads have. Oh, okay. Right.
No, he's going to find another way on. Much to the groundsman's concern, he is attempting to rejoin, and yep, there he goes.
I've been pestering the production team for weeks to give me a button that plays the Benny Hill theme tune, but it's still happened. Right, green flag flies, the car back on track, and nothing more than I imagine a little bit of a bruised ego for Adam Kinman on there. However, very easy mistake to make, and again, without seeing the instant there, I would put a lot of money that it's just been a case of he's just lit up the rear tyres coming out of that final corner.
Yes, maybe just got on the power a little too early, as we see there, 36 and 66. That's the two O'Neill racing cars, and Adam Kinman has joined them. So we've got a three-way fight coming along the back straight. It's David Riley ahead of Duncan O'Neill, and understandably the rather more powerful Rover gets past them, as we see coming into shot Alistair Coates in the green MG BV8. Number 51 still trying his best to keep up with Cope in Golf number 4. Alistair having a run here in the MG rather than his usual Escort RS 2000, which he'll be racing next weekend at the Silverstone Classic.
Yeah, it really is its own sub-genre, subculture here in the world, I guess, with motorsport. Is this very vibrant, very rich, historic racing community. You obviously you think of the historic races at Spa, Le Mans. You've got the Goodwood Revival Festival down in England as well. A fantastic ability for everyone to, no matter if you drive these things or not, if you just want to experience them, go down and take part. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. But back to the race itself, we've got 6 laps left to go. It's still David Brown ahead of Andrew Graham. Martin Reynolds in 3rd place. The gap there looks to be around about 8 to 10 seconds between those cars there. Charlie Cope, as you said, in 4th position with that Volkswagen Golf, doing a grand job there, although you know, it's getting harassed, something rotten from Alistair Coates right now in that MGB GTV8 machine. But again, the Golf just seems to have it of that car in the tighter, twistier parts of the circuit here, Malcolm.
Yeah, it does. I spoke to Alistair in the lunch break, and he said that the Golf does get a good run on him out of the hairpin, and in the twistier sections, just slightly more nimble. Whereas the rather older generation MGB doesn't quite have the finesse, but Alistair, very experienced driver, especially in Ford Mustangs and also in his Escort, has the wealth of experience that's allowing him to provide very entertaining racing here.
Yeah, I can imagine that the Ford Mustang would be an absolutely different kettle of fish compared to some of the cars that we've got on the track here as well. Although I would imagine in terms of raw horsepower and absolute loutishness that the Rover of John Kinman's would come a close second to that one. Certainly when you put the foot down on it and the back end just squeals out into Mercy. It's a sight and a half. And again, they just don't make them like that nowadays. They
no,
just don't.
Indeed not. We move on now. This is Jimmy Crowe in the Escort with Nicky Dixon close behind him and Brown at the point of lapping these two, but quite a difference in power, technology and otherwise through the generations as we see the Cortina devised in the very late 50s, produced in the 60s, to the modernity of the TVR. And while it comes up on us now, it shows on screen once again. We have the 2 XR2s that we talked about and a bit of sideways movement from number 21 Jimmy Crowe, and Dixon getting closer and closer to him in Lotus Cortina, and fabulous run out there. So who knows what will happen in the closing stages.
Yep, 3 laps left to go. As you said, Jimmy Crowe just ahead of Nicky Dixon, the Ford Escort Mark 1 ahead of the Lotus Cortina Mark 1, and making their way out of Clarkson down the back straight just now. You can see the XR2s in the background there fighting out amongst themselves. Duncan O'Neill ahead of David Riley, the 2 XR2s in class. And you can see David Riley going for a bit of a late move on the entry into the final corner there. And again, just going back to the XR2s, of course, very important to keep them here in terms of the heritage, in terms of what they meant to Scottish motorsport. Things moved on now to the Fiesta STs, but of course there was such a huge XR2 movement here. But we see still coming into McIntyre's, this battle still raging on then. Jimmy Crowe still trying to just wrestle that number 21. We're actually seeing Nicky Dixon there in the number 69 Lotus Cortina. Does look like that Cortina's actually starting to make some big inroads here.
Yeah, it's really a superb display from both of them, and each lap round we think the Escort is slightly faster, but not far off it. And as the pressure comes on, maybe the Escort driver's been a little unnerved at the thought of the Cortina closing.
Yep. Last lap then, Malcolm. David Brown goes across the line to start that lap there. 4.6 litre engine in that TVR Griffith. That is an absurd amount of power in that car there. And again, you know, all that power means that you have to be even more skilled to be able to drive that thing with consistency and control and drive it to within your limit. And just coming out of Clarkson for the final time, it's been another exemplary display by David Brown in the C class for the TVR Griffith. into the final corner then. The driver of the 173, it's been 20 seconds or near as heck to Andrew Graham in second place, but it's going to be a race win then for David Brown. Across the line, checker flag flies for David Brown. Andrew Graham is going to come across the line in second place. Martin Reynolds will come across the line in third. In terms of classes then, B class is going to go to Charlie Cope in the Golf GTI. Class C is going to be David Brown in the TVR Griffith. Class A is going to go to Ian Mitchell in the Vauxhall Nova, as we said, Charlie Cope, and then Class D is going to be Adam Kinmans in the Rover Vitesse, and then the XR2 is going to go to Duncan O'Neill on that last lap there. It was looking close, but there was much of a gap between them, probably about 4 or 5 seconds between those cars there. So maybe a predictable win there for David Brown, but he still has to turn up and he still has to put in the performance there.
Yeah, exemplary performance, yep. Great standard of driving. It is a powerful car, but if you don't have the ability to drive it, then you're not going to be at the front of the race at the end of it. So yeah, excellent performance from David Brown, excellent performances throughout. And just on the screens there, Alistair Coates, on the timing screen, should I say, Alistair Coates got ahead of Charlie Cope just at the end, which is a surprise, as Charlie seemed to have the making of him. So somewhere when we were watching all the other action, we didn't happen to see a late blast from Alistair to get ahead. But yeah, really enjoyable.
Well, that must have happened at least a lap ago then, because I'm looking at the last laps there, 101.0 for Charlie Cope and a 101.3 for Alistair Coates there. So very, very unusual stuff. However, that is by the by. Two is we will head over into the holding area and have a very, very well-deserved chat to Andy Alston, who is with our race winner, David Brown.
Yes, good performance once more from David Brown in the TVR. It was a lead of close to 20 seconds in the end, but very, very comfortable race for him. And I think he'd be more than happy with how his weekend has gone overall, really. Very strong in the opener as well earlier on today, of course. But yeah, I think he'll be very happy with how he's gone. And we'll catch up with him in just a moment's time. And David, we spoke earlier in the day and you were kind of saying maybe see how the car feels later on this afternoon, but another strong performance out there today, and you must be really happy with how the weekend's going overall.
Yeah, no, the cars ran well, flawless. Would have liked a wee bit more pace, but I think that's for everyone that's going to say that. But yeah, I can't complain at all.
And what's the kind of your thoughts going into the final meeting of the season now as well? You do anything to the car perhaps to get ready for it?
No, the final round, I think the car will be different again, so it should have a bit more power. And probably new tyres, because these are ancient, so that'll make a difference. So, and it'll be my dad that's racing the next one, not me. So that'll help him.
Yeah, good stuff. So tell us a little bit about the kind of what that goes on from the end of a race meeting to the next one for the car, and the kind of what that goes on behind the scenes to kind of get the car on the grid.
From the last race, the gearbox had to get rebuilt. The diff was okay, but I broke the bracket. There's quite a log end down a steering joint. I think the cars are over 30 years old, so they're not really made to get their heads kicked in for 12 minutes at a time, so they do struggle a wee bit, but as long as you life everything and check it all properly, it's not an issue.
Many congratulations out there, well done. David Brown there in the TVR, a strong performance from him there across both races. Let's see if we can just grab a quick word with one or two other drivers here. I think one driver I'd be quite keen to get their thoughts on is Nicky Dixon here in this fantastic machine, the number 69 car. Nicky, tell us your emotions after that weekend.
Well, just a fantastic weekend racing. Had really some close racing with Jimmy in the Escort and a few other guys. Cars just going really well. Weather was on our side this weekend for Knockhill, which is really good. Just all in all, really enjoyable day, and nice to kind of get some positions with the car finally. We're getting there, but really enjoyable, really good day's motorsport, and really enjoying the classics.
Tell us a little bit about the car and the work you do to keep things all ticking over smoothly.
So the car itself is a 1963 Mark I Lotus Cortina, so it's a very early car. We're running a 170 brake Lotus twin cam. these standard we're running about 105 brake horsepower, so we're up a fair bit on horsepower. I'd always like more, but it's hard to achieve much more than that. There's a lot of maintenance with older cars, but at the same time there's little electronics, so it's all spanners and basic engineering, which makes it part of the fun. It's really good racing, and I would welcome anyone to try the sport. You wouldn't be disappointed.
So what is it that made you choose this car in particular then as the one you wanted to get behind the wheel?
Memories of this car. This car was raced by the renowned Jim Clark. I was fortunate my grandfather was in motorsport and raced against Jimmy Clark, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for these cars. So might not be the quickest car out there, but it's a car that has been around motorsport for a long time, especially with Scottish drivers, and I just enjoy it. So
definitely, Jim Clark, a man that means so much to so many people in the Scottish motorsport community as well. So see that Lotus out there it's really, really great to see.
Yeah. But no, like I say, can't fault the car. The car's on faultless all weekend, and I must thank all the marshals and all the staff at Knockhill, because it's been a really, really enjoyable weekend.
Absolutely. And just finally, what's your kind of plans going into the final race meeting of the season? Is there anything in particular to the car you're looking to maybe
we could just get a few more brake horsepower. Have a wee word with the mechanic after. There's a little bit more brake horsepower, but the setup just worked today. Just fantastic setup. It just worked. Yeah, can't complain.
Nicky, many congratulations. Thanks for speaking to us. Nicky Dixon there in this fabulous Lotus, a real crowd pleaser. Great to see that car out there on track. And yeah.
Apologies about that. Poor Andy Allison has been cut off in his prime, ladies and gentlemen. We shall petition it and see what we can do. And I'm just actually looking over my shoulder there. And yeah, he's making his way back in. So apologies about that. However, we have got pressing stuff to get on with in the form of 3 races left to go. The Scottish Fiesta ST Cup Race 2 is about to get underway, and they're away to make their way onto the grid. So let's have a look at the grid for their final race of the day. Stephen Gray is going to take pole position with Liam McGill in second place. Ian Blackley is going to be on row 2 alongside Andrew Mackey. Then it's on row 3, Gerald Henry with Brodie Orr on row 3. Row 4 is going to be Peter Cruikshank and Kieran Preedy. Row 5 is going to be Lauren Murray alongside Lucy Hales-Maver. Row 6 is going to be Nicholas Forsyth and Stuart Murray. And then Stephen Ward at the back of that row 7. However, we'll see if he's going to be out there because of that damage inflicted on the car in that first race of the day. Scottish ST Cup Race 2. That's what we are here to watch just now. And as we said, Stuart Murray looks to be the final car that takes to the grid. So no sign of Stephen Ward. There's the green flag. Without any further ado, and barely a chance to catch breath, we go live for our next race of the afternoon. 3 races left to go. After this one is going to be the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, and then the Scottish Legends Car Championship. So we are just poised and ready to go. As we said, Stephen Gray, Liam McGill, the 2 championship protagonists up at the front of this race here. The notes rise, the lights are on, we get ready to go racing, away we go. It's a cracking start for both of the polemen. Stephen Gray and Liam McGill both off like scalded cats down into turn 1 then. Who is going to come out on top? It looks like Liam McGill. What a start for Liam McGill. Goes right round the outside into Duffus Step. We're down into McIntyre's already. And what a start for your championship protagonist to already get that done. We're keeping an eye on the 54 of Nick Forsyth there as the cars come streaming through for the first lap here. And that is the number 7 at the back there of Stuart Murray here. Lots of action going on, lots of dust being kicked up there. You can see the 21 of Kieran Preedy Brodior is in there somewhere as well. You can see him there in 5th position. That was a little bit of a look there from Stephen Gray up the inside. And from last week, the 35 comes flying in. That was bold and optimistic from Andrew Mackey. But to be fair to him, he absolutely almost made that work there. Didn't come anywhere near to contact with the car that was just in front of him there. But looks like Brodior under a little bit of pressure there for the battle for 5th position, but it's still Liam McGill in the lead of the race there. He has lost that position, so Brodior loses the position, gets it straight up the inside into McIntyre's there. They're still side by side coming down through Butchers. It's Kieran Preedy and Brodior. Brodior gets the position done. So there you go. That is fantastic stuff from Brodior there. Bold and as brave as you like there. You can see just up in front as well, though. That is the battle for 3rd and 4th position. That is between Ian Blackley and Gerald Henry, who are fighting it out. Have a look at Kieran Preedy. He's looking a little bit menacing. He's going to be right to the inside of the hairpin then. He might get the move done. That's the 35 going to try and make a move on the inside as well. Andrew Mackey, Brodior just left for dead on that one. You hate to see it, but Brody, I mean, that's so unlike him. We've seen Brody fighting for everything he can there, but had no straight line speed whatsoever there, and now has been left to Andrew Mackey to try and fend off that one. Because look at Kieran Brady. In fact, Andrew Mackey already away through. I wonder if there's a problem with that car here, because Brodior just not able to make the same impact, the same effort that he was able to do in that race one there. So there could be something that is niggling at that car right now. That would explain it. Oh, the huge moment there for Brodior. Kept it going, kept the foot in on the exit of the chicane there. We saw exactly the same thing on the C1s there, and something is going on with Brodior. You can see how much he's having to overdrive that car there. He's really pushing it in to within an inch of its life here. But have a look at the 147 now of Gerald Henry onto the back of Ian Blackley. He's trying to give it a go as well. Stephen Gray still on the back of Liam McGill. That gap opened up to now 0.8 of a second between 1st and 2nd place. We've got 9 laps left to go in this race here. Liam McGill bounces over the hill there. So does Stephen Gray. And then you've got this fight here. Ian Blackley, Gerald Henry. You've got Kieran Preedy now coming into the mix. And there's a move up the inside. And well, Gerald Henry. I mean, that I don't know if something happened to the 333 of Ian Blackley, but it just felt like Gerald Henry was able to just take that position with absolutely no fight whatsoever. Now, what is going to be the issue is Kieran Preedy fancies taking this position as well. It's a great run out of Clark's. He's going to be in the tow right now. But have a look at Andrew Mackey also in the background as well. And that's going to be deep into the corner from Ian Blackley. That's going to compromise the exit. Now that's going to force Kieran Preedy backwards into Andrew Mackey. Brodior is potentially going to get a comeback at this as well. This is for the final podium position right now then. As the cars come across the line, still Liam McGill from Stephen Hendry. And you can see the cars coming down throh Duff and Stip there. Ian Blackley in that 4th position. Still trying to hold on to Gerald Henry, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it right now. A little bit of dust gets kicked up from one of the cars up in front. I think that might be Stephen Gray. And wow, what do you say to that Brodior? He is a man on a knife edge right now, and it looks fantastic. It looks brilliant to see, but he is flirting with disaster on that one. You're only going to get away with that so many times, and that is going to be a big accident if that happens here. So I just need to see Brodior just kind of tone that down a little bit here, because he's not gaining anything from it. He's pushing the car really, really hard. Although from all we know here, if he does have a problem, he's maybe having to fight this hard just to stay in contention with Andrew Mackey and Kieran Preedy. And with his age, with Brodior being a young lad, he is a very, he takes after his dad, very, very hungry race driver. He wants to get the best possible result that he can. He will fight tooth and nail to get it, and that's exactly what we're seeing here today. Unfortunately, in days like this, you just have to work with what you've got and maybe just dial it back a little bit and make sure you finish. However, what we have seen in previous races is that car can come back to him. He's maybe overheated the tyres a little bit and they're a little bit slippery, a little bit slidey, but give it another couple of laps, they cool back down and it comes back to him. So don't be surprised to see Brodior starting to make moves up through the field again, but it's still Liam Gill from Stephen Gray. You can see Ian Blackley still trying to hold on to that position there, but it's not quite happening. He's just not able to get away from Kieran Preedy as much as he'd like. We've got 6 laps left to go in this race here. And again, another absolute classic from the Fiestas. It might not have the door banging that the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup has or the Citroen C1s, but this is still just an absolute classic. You get the feeling that it's on simmer, it's on boil. You're waiting for something to absolutely kick this off. And with 6 laps left to go, it's still definitely happening. Brodior throwing that car to within an inch of its life right now. And I cannot take much more of watching Brodior drive this car, because it's going to go one way. It's either going to be that it hooks up, he gets the car coming back to him, and he suddenly starts tearing through this field and gets himself back up to the podium, or more likely, it's going to end up that that car ends up spinning off or facing the wrong way. We will wait and see, because, as I say, I'm hoping it's the former, because such an incredible talent behind that wheel. However, further back then, Peter Cruikshank in 8th position, Lorne Murray in 9th, Lucy Hales-Maver with a great performance in 10th position, Nick Murray in 11th, and Stuart Murray, Nick Forsyth in 11th place, and Stuart Murray currently down in P12 just now. You're seeing a little bit of a gap opening there. Gerald Henry getting a little bit of daylight between himself and Ian Blackley in that 4th position right now. Kieran Preedy still trying to the back end, but again the big power slide this time from Kieran Preedy. He's got Andrew Mackey all over the back of him now, and Brodior still within contention at the back of this group. The fact that he's still holding on when it looks like there's a power difference or a power issue with that car, he gets dropped in a straight line, but he absolutely makes up for it in the corners on this one. 5 laps left to go then here in the Fiesta STs. 4 laps left to go, excuse me, as the cars come across the line to make another lap down here. And again, I've got absolutely no idea how this one is going to pan out. It looks quite good for Liam McGill at the front. He looks comfortable. He looks composed. His last laps has been consistency. 102.1 was that last lap there. Before that was a 102.0. Before that was a 102.0. Before that was a 101.9. So consistency seems to be the order of the day for Liam McGill. Stephen Gray, though, is going to try and ratchet up that pressure, but he might be happy with 2nd place. He might be thinking, right, I've done what I can for today, have to leave it for the next round, and we're going to have to bring it into the final rounds. However, personal best that last lap round there, Gerald Henry, 62.177 last lap round there. So Gerald Henry in the 147 still pushing very, very hard indeed. Brodior definitely has dropped off the back of this group here, but have a look at Ian Blackley then, has still got Kieran Preedy fighting it down. And hang on a minute, that gap between your race leader and 2nd place came down by half a second on that last lap there. That gap is now 7/10 of a second with 3 laps left to go. Stephen Gray has pulled the pin out. He is chasing desperately after Liam McGill right now. Is Liam McGill just managing the gap in this race? I would say he's not got enough of a gap to manage it. I would say that he can't be taking risks like that. And that definitely looks like Stephen Gray is absolutely closing onto the back end of your race leader. He's definitely pushing it. You can see the way that the car is flirting with the gravel trap on the exit of Clark Corner there. 3 laps left to go. This is it. This is go time. I wonder if Stephen Gray has tried to save the very best of this car for the final round or the final couple of laps. And you can see Liam McGill starting to go a little bit wide out of that final corner there. I think that's starting to get to him a little bit. Let's check what the gap is as they come across the line this time by. Still 7/10 of a second. Both nearly identical lap times last time round, 6.2 that time round there. So it's going to have to be something absolutely special from Stephen Gray if he's going to absolutely make this happen. And I don't know if there's enough left in the tank or if there's enough time to make this happen. But again, just have a look at the gap that these two have opened out over third and fourth and everyone else here. You barely get them in the same camera shot on this one. But again, Liam McGill onto the brakes, pulls the car round. We're on the penultimate lap of the race here. Our final Fiesta ST Cup race of the day. And it's still Liam McGill from Stephen Gray, from Gerald Henry. That's your top three into the hairpin then. And this is it. It's now or never for Stephen Gray. A little bit wide on the exit of the hairpin there for Liam McGill, but we have got our last lap board held out here. 0.6 of a second now, so 1/10 of a second down on that. Obviously not enough, but now you're going to start coming in to the range of a good toe down the back end here. But that was wide, that was sloppy from Stephen Gray into Duffus there. The car weaving about, but again gets a better exit from McIntyre. So it swings and roundabouts. He's losing out coming down through Duffus. But it looks like Liam McGill might have the measure of this race here. They're coming up over the chicane, up into Clark then for the final time. The car drifts round the corner here. And I think that is it. I think he's done everything he needs to do, barring a monumental last-minute lunge from Stephen Gray. I'm going to hold my breath in case that actually does happen. But I think Stephen Gray thinks better of it. Early turn in for Liam McGill. And that is going to be job done then. The final Fiesta ST race of the afternoon. Liam McGill takes the win then from Stephen Gray in second place. Gerald Henry is going to come across the line in no man's land in third position. Ian Blackley is just, and I mean literally just there. You can see that ahead of Kieran Preedy. Andrew Mackey in sixth position. Roddy Orr will finish in seventh position. It's going to be eighth position for Peter Cruikshank. Lauren Murray in ninth. It's going to be Lucy Hales-Maver in 10th position. Nick Forsyth, in 11th place, and Stuart Murray in 12th as well. What a performance. Very unlucky for Stephen Gray not to be able to close that gap down, but a very strong performance by Liam McGill. Very well-deserved win there. Again, you know, you look at the performance from Brodie Orr. He had a very good start to the race, tried to get himself right up there, and it just wasn't to be today. So great performance all round from the Fiestas, and as always, a huge thank you to them for making it such an enjoyable part of the Scottish Motor Racing Club Championship, the SMRC live race day here, sponsored by Reese Motorsport Insurance. So Liam McGill makes his way up into pit lane. He'll be coming across the line, and in just a second he'll be heading into the holding area very, very shortly. Up next though, ladies and gentlemen, we have got more races. We have two more left to go. It's the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup powered. That'll be up just next. That is, of course, powered by Project 21 Detailing and supported by Yokohama. And then the final race is going to be our Scottish Legends. But the roar of the Fiesta STs mean that the cars making their way into the holding area. And Andy Alston, I believe you've got them with you.
Yes, Dave, a great race once more in the Fiestas, and a massive win for that man there, Liam McGill, in the championship, beating his rival Stephen Gray to the checkered flag in the final race. Gerald Henry taking the final step of the podium in the 147 car, but Liam McGill will be delighted to have taken the top step of the podium in the final race here this afternoon in this Fiesta Championship. So it sets up a very interesting finale, of course, at the last race meeting of the season, with Liam McGill looking to get his hands on that championship trophy. Liam, how big a win was that for you in this championship fight?
It's absolutely huge. You know, coming into this weekend, it was neck and neck with me and Stephen, and then in the first one there we had problems with overheating again, and you know, it was the head gasket, so we put 2 bottles of steel seal in and crossed our fingers again. I mean, we had to do this at Cadwell, but I need to get shares in the company, I think. But no, I mean, Stephen pushed me all the way there. I was just desperate on the checkered flag coming out, but no, you know, he's a hard racer, and you know, may the best man win in the next one, I guess.
No, absolutely, a really strong performance from yourself and Stephen there, as you mentioned. But going into the finale, of course, a little bit of a break until then. So, what's the kind of game plan going to be in preparations for the last 2 races of the season?
Well, I mean, for us, we know that we can get the car kind of handling pretty well, so it's really just down to the engine. So we do all the usual kind of work to get the car up to spec, but we really need to take that engine out and get a look at it and make sure that we can really get to the bottom of this problem, because we just don't need that for the next one. Hopefully it rains for the next one. I like the rain a bit better, so I'll do my rain dance before as a preparation as well.
Good stuff. Liam, many congratulations. Thank you. Liam McGill there taking the win in the final race here in the Fiestas, so he'll be very, very pleased with that one. Let's get a quick word with second place man Stephen Gray, who joins us now. Stephen, second place there in the finale. Great scrap once more with you and Liam McGill, and I suppose the stage is set for a thrilling finale.
It's equal on points, isn't it, going into the last round now, so it's as close as it gets. So I was just saying to Duncan there, he drove incredibly well, made no mistakes, so really didn't give me any opportunity to really have a go at him. There's next to nothing with us really with the pace, you know, so he got a good start off the line, enough just to nick in front of me, just going into the first corner, and that was it. I was chasing ever since then, so yeah, unsuccessfully.
So looking ahead to the finale in October, anything you're going to maybe look at the car going into that one, or are you just going to try and just keep the momentum going and see where it takes you?
Yeah, the car's running well, so I don't know if there's too much more we can really do with it, and it'll be very weather dependent probably, you know, depending whether it's freezing cold and raining or nice and sunny, so we'll just have to play it by ear.
Great stuff, Stephen. Thanks very much. Cheers. Stephen Gray there won the opening race here in the Fiestas and second place in the finale. Both drivers, as Stephen mentioned, level on points going into the last 2 races of the season. Let's get a quick word with Gerald Hendry, who took the final step of the podium in that one. Joins us now. Gerald, you must be thrilled to get yourself on third place there in the finale.
Over the moon. It's been an up and down day, a poor qualifying, which has gradually got better and better. So yeah, it's the first time in the car, new car for me. Mark Dixon was the previous owner, so I've had a phone call from him giving me a few pointers and tips, but at the end of the day we just had to keep it on the road, and we were solitary in the middle in third place between second and fourth, stuck in no man's land, but it's a great podium. Over the moon.
Great stuff. Many congratulations,
Thanks
Gerald.
very much.
Gerald Henry there, the 147, taking the final step of the podium. Dave, back to you.
Thank you very much, Andy Austin, down there in the holding area. I'd also like to publicly apologise for that driver requesting for rain for the final meeting of the round. We're not having any of that whatsoever. It's a little bit disappointed that Andy didn't kick him in the shin when he said that live on air. However, moving on to our penultimate race of the day then. It's the Mini Coopers. Oh boy, this is going to be fun, isn't it? Right, let's have a look at the grid then. Gone long on pole position ahead of Jack Irvine. Remember, no R53s out in this final race. Ian Munro on row 2 alongside Neil Hose. Dan Patterson is going to be alongside the man, the myth, the legend, Flymo himself in 6th position there, Michael Weddle, after that outrageous start in race 2. Chad Little is in row 4 alongside Ryan Smith. Row 5 is going to be Ewan Robertson alongside Finn Mash. David Taylor to try and undo some of the really bad luck that he's had today. He's on row 6 alongside Dan Martin. Then it's row 7, Nick Ormiston and Andrew Bell. Stephen Morrison is in 15th position on row 8 alongside Chris Coburn. And then at the back of the grids on row 9, if we have one, I don't believe we do. So there we go. That is, I'm so used to having the R53s just sort of bulking out the rest of the grids here that when we actually get left to the minis, it's like, oh, 16 of them. Right, let's go then. So where do we pick up off of race 2 then? Michael Weddle, that's who we have to talk about. Flymo making his way through and just really clawing through to get 3rd position out of nothing. From the back of the grid, absolutely unbelievable. Neil Hostow as well. It could have been so different from him. I'd be very interested to hear what his thoughts were after the end of that one, and if they were actually safe for broadcasting. But there you go, as if by magic, all of the cars in position. The green flag flies, and this well-oiled machine gets going once more. We are running a tiny little bit behind schedule, 10 minutes, but the cars are on the grid. They're gridded up. The 5-second board is out. We're about to have lights out for our Scottish Mini Cooper Cup Race 3 here from Knockhill in association Project 21 Detailing and powered by Yokohama. The lights go on. Let's get racing. Gordon Long, Jack Irvine, who's going to come out on top? Have a look at Ian Munro in the background. That's a great start at 65. And Jack Irvine, everybody gets away cleanly from the line. We're going to go to Duffus Step and see with bated breath what on earth happens here, because the wind starts to pick up here. And the answer is the 65 of Jack Irvine is away quite clearly. And Flymo very close to going all the way down the exit road here. He's still in 5th place. We've got a car off into the gravel in the background there. You've got the number 19 there trying to get through on David Taylor there. You've got all sorts of dust and debris getting kicked up left, right and centre, but it is just a melee. These third races as Flymo, and that was the number 111, that was Neil Hose, who went flying across the gravel. I swear to goodness, the words that were about to leave my mouth is that the third race is normally a little bit chaotic. And that's exactly what we just had happen here. It's just mayhem. Drivers left, right and centre trying to find any free bit of space to get going for this third race today. But as we come across the line, it's still Jack Irvine from Gordon Long, from Ian Munro. That's your top three. Michael Weddle now up into 4th position ahead of Chad Little. Huge jump over the curb there for Jack Irvine. You've got Neil Hose trying to make his way down. We've got poor innocent floppy bollards being murdered left, right and centre here. Never a fan of saying that. They get left all over the track. They've done nothing to these Mini Cooper cars, and yet they get walloped left, right and centre. But it is very, very enjoyable. It's really the chaotic neutral in me loves race 3 of the Mini Coopers, because you always know you're going to get argy-bargy. It's like race 3 in the touring cars. Everything is off the table. It's still racing, but it's just a little bit firmer and it's a little bit tougher and rougher around the edges. However, it's all a little bit quieter now. So Jack Irvine still in the lead. And what a gap that Jack Irvine has got over Gordon Long. Gordon Long is leading a bit of a choo-choo train right now, ahead of Ian Munro. Michael Weddle is not going to want to be part of that train for too much longer. He's going to want to try and get his nose out in front as cars jump across the curb here onto the brakes down into McIntyre's then. Ian Munro looks very, very patient, and that is across the gravel for Jack Irvine. And it's like you say, oh, he's got a lead, and he's now just immediately tried to hand it over. Thankfully, because of it just being 2 wheels into the gravel for them, I think he's going to get away with it. As there goes Ian Munro up the inside. Job done. Thank you very much. Gordon Long left to nowhere. And look at that. Chad Little and Michael Weddle, they're having a little bit of a scrap coming up the back end here. And let's just make it 3 wide, boys, because of course, let's just do that. Dan Patterson now has just done the move of the weekend. Right there, out of absolutely nowhere. Tell me he didn't hit that car there. It just cut off at the wrong angle there. But Dan Patterson with the absolute move of the weekend there. He went 3 wide along the back straight there, managed to fire it in and took 2 cars in the course of 1 corner. Unbelievable move there from Dan Patterson in the 18 there. Oh, and that's Chad Little late on the brakes, and Dan Patterson has been escorted off into the Netherrealm. He keeps it going, he gets the car back on, but it's safe to say that Chad Little, they're not going to be getting on too well. Right, side by side through the chicane, at which point as a commentator you feel like just giving up sometimes, because of course things are going to happen right in front of you that you think possibly shouldn't be happening, but it did. I can imagine that he's going to feel a little bit aggrieved at that moment. It did look, and again, as a commentator, all we can do is talk about what we see. Is Neil Hose sends up the inside of Chad Little. That's a bit more like it. Neil Hose not having the best luck in race 3, but yeah, that's a little bit more fighty. That's what we want to see. What it looked like from our video feed that we get here in the production suite, it did look like Chad Little locked up the brakes and just escorted that number 18 of Dan Patterson across. Of course, race control will have a look at that and actually determine what happened there, but that's what it looked like from in here. But my goodness me, race 3 never fails to disappoint, and somehow it completely negated the fact that I didn't even notice that there's only 5 laps left. Somehow we're well over half race distance in this third race for the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, sponsored by Project 21 Detailing and in association with Yokohama Tyres. And talking of those Yokohama Tyres, they're going to need plenty of new ones for the next round. I can imagine quite a few of these cars have gone through a couple of sets today. Neil Ho's been one of them. Finn Mash might have also gone through one of them as well. Although Finn Mash, after his race 1 incident with David Taylor, doing a grand job of coming through. He's down in 10th position. We've got slippery surface flag out on track as well. Now, I'm presuming that is going to be on the entry to Duffus. And I'm wondering if that is going to be an issue with some of the cars there. But you're also seeing the wind has picked up. That's starting to blow some of the leaves and some debris onto the track as well. Ian Munro down there in second position. He's got a bit of a train behind him just now of Gordon Long and Michael Weddle. Weddle, I was expecting to see making some big moves up onto the inside there, but it's not happening just as of yet here. However, Jack Irvin still in the lead now. 3 seconds is the gap between him and second place of Ian Munro right now. You can see it in the background there. You can also see Chad Little and Neil Hose just almost side by side going into that final corner there. So 3 laps left to go as your race leader Jack Irvin comes across the line. He's been in a bit of no man's land as well. He's been out in front. He's not really had anybody pressuring him. However, Ian Munro just took out 0.3 of a second on your race leader that last lap there. That gap has come down to under 3 seconds. It's now 2.8 seconds. We've only got 3 laps left to go, so the pace needs to massively ramp up if they're going to do anything. And you don't want to be doing things like that, dipping 2 wheels into the grass there. And there goes Weddle, side by side, coming through the chicane. Hustled back out of it. Gordon Long is going to absolutely claw on to this third place if he can. Weddle sends it up the inside. Gordon Long doesn't have any way of fighting it back and has to hand over that position. Michael Weddle, with a gun to his head, takes third position there. Great move there. And, fantastic to see Weddle up into third. Now, Chad Little is ahead of Neil Hose. Neil Hose, though, on the inside. You can just catch it on the inside. That's going to be a late moment onto the brakes there for Neil Hose. Chad Little, though, is going to get the run out the corner. Have a look at night 4, Ryan Smith. He fancies getting involved in this as well. So this is getting very, very, very scrappy. Indeed, black and white flag gets held out for an unmarked driver. I'm not sure who that was just now. That was driving standards flag that gets held out there. So we'll try and get an ID on that. But penultimate lap of the race then. 2 laps left to go here in our final Scottish Mini Cooper Cup race here at Knockhill. What a treat this has been. Really, really riveting stuff here. Jack Irvin still leads Ian Munro by 2.2 seconds. That gap came down by 0.6 of a second on that last lap there. And that was a big moment there for Ian Munro. 2 deep into the corner, goes into the kitty litter on the exit of Clarkson. That is not going to do his chase down any good whatsoever. And what I'm going to be concerned is Michael Weddle now has got that target locked. He wants to try and take that position away from Ian Munro right now. Neil Ho's still on the back in 94 of Ryan Smith, so he's lost yet another position here. Last lap board held out. How is this going to end? That is what we have to figure out here. You can see the car weaving from left to right. Jack Irvin then goes into McIntyre's for the final time. Ian Munro has lit the touch paper. He wants to try and take this position. Surely it's too much. Surely there's nothing that he can actually do to stop Jack Irvin in the 65 from taking this race victory here up into Clark's for the final time. Michael Weddle has dropped off a little bit from Ian Munro as well. And this looks like it is it. It's a good, healthy lead. 2 seconds between Jack Irvin and Ian Munro. It's going to be all the way down into the final hairpin for the final time for these minis then. Jack Irvin comes out of the hairpin after a tumultuous race 3 here. But it's going to be Jack Irvine to take the win. Ian Munro in second place. And Michael Werrell is going to take the final step on the podium, just like he did on race 2. Ridiculous entertainment there. We hope you really, really enjoyed that. It's going to be Gordon Long in 4th, Ryan Smith finishing in 5th position, Neil Hose in 6th, Dan Patterson in 7th, Chad Little in 8th, Finn Marsh in 9th, Dan Martin in 10th, Ewan Robertson in 11th, David Taylor in 12th, and I hope they paid a ticket to get in. That's okay, right? Oh, right, okay. Let's. I didn't quite realise it was that close to the track. Never mind. Well, it's a horrified gasp from the production studio. We thought our camera person was taking a nice artistic shot of, like, say, the go-kart centre or something like that, and yeah, never mind. Right, well, what we'll do is we'll send out our track staff to kindly escort that bird from trackside there, but a great win nonetheless, getting back to serious business. Jack Irvine taking the win. A brilliant, brilliant performance there. Ian Munro in second place, and Michael Werrell is going to finish in P3. Well, what do you say about that? The top 3 coming in almost nose to tail. And very shortly, we'll be heading over into the pit lane. And cars just making their way around. So Jack Irvine, Ian Munro, Michael Werrell, that is your top 3 for the final mini race. But do not go anywhere. Up next is our final race of the day. The Scottish Legends Championship take their 3rd heat race, their final race of the day. And yeah, that is going to be fast, frenetic, and a little bit awesome as well. But having a look over into the Holden area, I can see we've got Andy Alston poised, waiting like a ninja, ready to go and have a chat with our race winner.
Yes, absolutely, Dave. Jack Irvine taking the win in the final race of the day in the minis. He must be absolutely delighted with that, because Jack, that was a dominant performance from you. You really couldn't ask for any more.
No, couldn't have done any better. Front tyres was going off near the end, and then it started jumping out of 3rd gear a couple of times too, so just had the nurse at home there at the end.
Does that give you a lot of confidence going into the final meeting of the season in October as well, just rounding off your weekend in style with a trip to the top step of the podium?
Well, if you get 3 more of them, it'd be the best way to finish the season, so it would. So, well, we know we have the pace, like, we just have to get away, and no more silly mistakes as well.
Yeah, good stuff. And again, you were pushed all the way with Ian Munro there as well, Michael Werrell taking the final step at the podium. So there was a lot of work to keep those guys at bay as well, whilst focusing on trying to extend that gap at the front too.
Yeah, I had a 4 or 5 car gap all of the race, and sort of kept it that way. So it's easy enough. Well, sort of easy enough. So I'd just like to say, get well soon to my granny and granda Irvine. So as they're not well at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, Jack, congratulations, great drive out there, very well done. Jack Irvine there winning the final race of the season, of the event, I should say. Of course, beating the number 23 car of Ian Munro, with Michael Werrell taking the final step of the podium as well. We'll grab a quick chat with Ian Munro in the number 23 car, finishing that one in second place. Just having a quick chat there with Michael Werrell. Ian joins us now. And Ian, you pushed Jack all the way there, but you must be quite happy to still be on the podium and rounding off your weekend with a bit of silverware.
Yeah, I was quite happy with second there. I was slowly catching him, but it would have taken quite a bit longer to catch him, to be honest. And Michael might have caught me, so I was quite happy with that. It was quite a good race. It was pretty clean, and to be honest, it wasn't that eventful for me. It looked like maybe a wee bit more was kicking off behind, but for me it was all right.
And again, when you know that there's scrapping going on behind you as well, it lets you kind of just focus on what's coming ahead of you. You don't have to necessarily take too many defensive lines into corners. You can just focus on maximising pace.
That's it, yeah. I was telling him to fight some more. That's it, you're hoping for. So, no, it's been a good weekend all round, to be honest. Yeah. It's been good fun.
Yeah,
yep. Cheers.
Stuff, Ian. Thanks very much for speaking to us. Ian Monroe there, second place there on the minis. And we'll grab a very quick chat with Michael Weddle before we get the final race underway. Michael, I dare say, if you had been offered 2 podium finishes earlier on this afternoon, or this morning I should say, you'd have been very pleased with that.
Yeah, after the way this morning started, I would have bit anyone's hand off to take 2 podiums. The last race was really weird. It's like there was something down on the track there. It was quite a slippery surface out there. So last 2 laps I was like, don't do anything silly, just bring it home. So it would have been a do or die move to get past Ian because he's always late on the brakes. So I was just happy to bring it home on the podium.
Absolutely. And looking ahead to the final meeting of the season in October as well, what's your approach going to be for that one?
Just the same as what I've done all this whole weekend. Just take one race at a time and then just try and aim to be at the front, really.
Great stuff, Michael. Many congratulations. Michael Weddle taking the final step of the podium in the last race here in the minis. Dave, back to you.
Thanks very much, Andy Alston there. You could predictably tell why Michael Weddle was very, very happy indeed. As you said, a difficult start to the day, and he would absolutely bite your hand off to get that finish from that one. Can hear the dulcet tones of Duncan Vincent in the background with the podium for the minis there. We say our goodbyes to them, and we turn our attention to the final race of the day here, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful day, because we certainly have had a brilliant time bringing this to you here as part of the SMRC race day, sponsored by Reese Motorsport Insurance. So while the Orange Army do their stuff and make sure that Knockhill is in the best possible condition, we turn our attention to the Scottish legends who have kept us entertained all through the day as they join as very welcome guests to the programme here on the SMRC. It's time for their third and final race, and they go from a randomised reverse grid. There is a numbered ball in a bag, and it's chosen at random by one of the drivers or one of the teams or a named person. And then for the third race of the day, that's how the race is decided, the grid. So remember that, as we said earlier, these are cars that are based on, the pre-war kind of Fords, your Chevys, those iconic type of machines that are out there. They've got a motorbike engine in them, a sealed Yamaha 1.2 litre engine in them, capable of producing about 120 brake horsepower. But they weigh so little, which means that the power to weight ratio on these things is just eye-watering. They are ridiculously good fun. And they also do Legends experiences. So if you like what you see here and you think, I quite fancy a shot at one of them, have a look on the Knockhill website, or pop up and have a chat with Andrew and get yourself a shot of one of those Legends experiences. But anyway, that is us ready to go for the final race of the afternoon. So we'll take a short step away from the microphone. When we come back, we'll bring it all the build up for the Legends. So for the eagle-eyed among you, you'll have seen the legends coming out of the holding area, making their way down the pit lane here at Knockhill. They'll be doing their final checks. They end up holding themselves at the end. They go through and do their receiver radio checks. And once that is done and dusted, they head off out on the track. And this is what you see out in front of you just now. So, again, we don't have advanced sighting of the grid order, so we're just going to have to take you through it as we see. You can see Peter McKernan, though, on pole position there. He's out there in front in that blue and lime green machine. I think that looks like Stuart Black that's in second place as well there, but we'll get an ID once they actually come through. In fact, Stuart Black was towards the back there in the 52. So let's see, that is the 53 that's in second place there. That is Stuart Robertson that is in that second place there. So they're going to be sorting that out. Pino Palazzo waving cars round. I wonder if he's got a bit of a problem on that car. It's not seeming to go properly. Maybe he's just waving some of the other cars around past him. But anyway, as we said, it's going to be a rolling start for this race. And as if by magic, I forgot I can check Lifetime and tell you exactly who's who. Peter McKernan lines up beside Stuart Robertson on row 1. Mark French is going to be alongside Mark Reed. Row 3 is going to be Elby Clark and Scott Smith. Pino Palazzo was on row 4, but he's built it back. He was alongside Brent Bowie. Row 5 is going to be Ben McNeese and Billy Waite. Stuart Black and Ben Mason on row 6. And at the back of the field, number 71, Ryan McLeish. That is who we've got, but as you can see at the back there, Pino Palazzo actually is going to go right to the back of the grid. So we get ready to go racing for our final time this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You've been more than welcome to join us, and we do this all again in the first week of October. Safety car lights are off. We get ready for our final start of the day, a rolling start, and that means that our car at the front, Peter McKernan, becomes the de facto safety car. The lights are on the bridge. They race until the lights go out. There we go. The roar of those engines absolutely scream across the line. And we go racing for the final time this afternoon then. Peter McKernan in the lead into turn number 1. And that was a 53 of Stuart Robertson. I think just give it up and not bothering to try and take duffers whatsoever. We've got cars trying to send it in from every which way that they possibly can. You've got Scott Smith, huge contact. That's going to be the 22 of Ben Mason and the 17 of Billy Waite. And I think actually the 22 of Ben Mason's going to keep going again. So somehow, it looks like possibly suspension damage for the 17. We go green flag racing again. We've got a car off on the infield there. That's Brent Bowie who tries to get going again. That's on the entry. I'm not going to lie, that was maybe a deceiving camera angle there, but for my heart there, I did think for a second going the wrong way on the track there. We keep going racing though. So everything's still under green flag conditions, and you know, why wouldn't it be? The car gets recovered on the track. That was Brent Bowie, was the car that I was trying to say was facing the wrong way on the entry to Clark Corner there. But down into Duffer Step. Did I tell you that these cars are great value for money? They're amazing fun to watch, but my goodness me, you age about 10 years watching a race on these things. Right, Scott Smith side by side there. You can see Stuart Black, though, hanging it out. Where did Stuart Black come from? Stuart Black was down in about 6th position. He's now in the lead of the race ahead of Ryan McLeish. Ryan McLeish was last. Ryan McLeish was stone dead last at the end of that lap there. So I've got no idea how he's managed to come through. Peter McKernan, though, is still into 3rd position there. It's going to be a move on the inside there for Ryan McLeish. But this is just, I mean, huge contact there on Scott Smith there. He's not going to be happy about that. I know Scott very well. Scott's not somebody you want to do that to, really. I think that was Mark Reed, I believe it was, in the 23. Mark's, yeah, that's not going to work out too well for Mark. Never mind. Right, back to your race leaders then. And Stuart Black ahead of Ryan McLeish right here. We've got 8 laps left to go. It's safe to say this is getting a little bit fighty. out there. It's getting a little bit aggressive between some of the cars there. Like say, I mean, Scott Smith, that was an ill-advised, I think, move by Mark Reed to try and lunge up the inside there. It didn't work. And quite possibly a little bit of damage on the car of Scott Smith, though. However, our race leaders coming into the hairpin then, Stuart Black ahead of Ryan McLeish there, ahead of Ben McNeese, Peter McKernan, Mark French. That's got to be one of Mark French's best ever performances to get up into 5th position. So, again, I don't recall Mark being up in the top 4, top 3. I'll double check with the history on that, the records on that, but a brilliant performance nonetheless from Mark French in the number 30. Elby Clark chasing him down in the number 15 right now. But this is back to the battle for the lead then. Stuart Black still ahead of Ryan McLeish. 7 laps left to go here as the cars stream down towards Clark then. They're going to pull themselves up through the hill. And again, that car of Stuart Black just a little bit wide, and the tail end of it a little bit happy to head out. And Ryan McLeish now must have the toe. It's going to be a late break. It's not going to be a lunge into the corner. A little bit too far back, but it's certainly a little bit closer then. It's going to make Stuart Black a little bit more apprehensive. It's going to give Ryan McLeish a little bit more of the toe. And again, they're just keeping pushing, keeping these laps going down here. Almost nose to tail coming across that start-finish line. Into Duffus Dip then again, a little bit of a gap opening up to Stuart Black, but it's closed immediately by Ryan McLeish then. They're pushing so very, very hard in the closing stages of this race. You can see how Ryan McLeish just trying to hold on there. Slippery surface flag is out. That's the cross yellow and red flag that comes out there to warn the driver of a change in surface conditions. As we cut back then to the number 4 of Peter McKernan. And that is the 15 Elby Clark that you can see there. So your 2 race leaders coming out of the final corner then. Stuart Black still ahead of Ryan McLeish. And you've got to think at this stage now, a tiny little bit of bump drafting surely going on between those 2 cars there. Ryan McLeish just 1/10 of a second behind your race leader. There's almost nothing between them as they come down the hill then. Stuart Black loses out the lead to Ryan McLeish. Ryan McLeish takes the lead, and that happened before they even got to Duffus Dip. So Ryan McLeish now takes the lead back off the race here, and we've just got 5 laps left to go. It's a straight up shootout for this race win between Stuart Black and Ryan McLeish, and we've seen this time and time again through the different heats today. Stuart Black very happy to sit behind the car in front. There you go, locked onto the bull bar of the car in front. A little bit of bump drafting here. Tries to get that car stopped in time, but it is Ryan McLeish who keeps onto it. Ryan McLeish just has to keep that car right there all day. He can get a little bit extra horsepower from Stuart Black here. But my goodness me, 4 laps left to go, and you get the feeling this is Stuart Black setting things up for a lunge as we cut back to the 4 and 30. Mark French then gets ahead of Peter McKernan. So Mark French now up into 4th position, and that is a ridiculously good result for Mark French right now. Comes down through Duffus Dip and obviously ran out of the Scottish Legends cars garage just up the hill here at Knockhill. But I'm looking at that gap between Ryan McLeish and Stuart Black again, and there we go. That's going to be pressure then for the number 4 of Peter McKernan, and that's Ben Mason who wants to have a go up the inside there, and he's done it. And that was a very, very wide moment there for the number 4 of Peter McKernan there. And that is Mark French losing out to Ben Mason as well there. So, again, Ben Mason manages to get past not just 1, but 2 cars on that lap there. Back to your race leaders, though. Here we go with 3 laps left to go. Stuart Black still onto the back end of Ryan McLeish coming up through Clark Corner then. Again, it's all about the momentum. It's all about the slipstream. It's all about Stuart Black setting this one up. It's surely too early. Surely he has to leave it until the final lap to make this happen. He's going to try and do the hard way. He's going to try and go all the way around the outside. But that means that Ryan McLeish has the inside line. Little puff of the exhaust as he goes down the gears there. Back onto the accelerator, and we're going to go on to our penultimate lap here at the final race of the day here for the SMRC race day, sponsored by Reese Motors Insurance. Into Duffus Dip there, and again the car sliding from left to right there as Ryan McLeish gets that car stopped in time, gets the anchors on. Great job done so far. Ben McNeese up into 3rd position. Peter McKernan back up into 4th now somehow. Ben Mason has dropped down to 4th and into 7th position, while the timing screen sorts itself out. So Mark French still in 5th position there. And a deep inhalation of breath in. This is go time now. This is it between your 2 race leaders, Ryan McLeish and Stuart Black. It's all about this final lap then. The last lap board is going to get held out here at Knockhill for your final race of the day. Ryan McLeish leads Stuart Black going across the line by 0.2 of a second. Onto the brakes, in towards Duffus, then a little flick of the rear end of the car from Ryan McLeish down into McIntyre's for the final time then. It's still too early. The car power slides round the corner. Ryan McLeish trying to give it everything he possibly can, trying to give every single little bit of traction to those tyres that he can even think about. But here comes Stuart Black. This is where all the money is made. Late on the brakes, the car drifts in towards Clark's. It looks to be quite far back. A little bit of rallycross across the gravel. Here comes Stuart Black. He looks to be further back than he's ever been before as Ryan McLeish breaks the toe. Surely it's too late now for Stuart Black into the final corner. Stuart Black is going to try and get a good drive out the corner, but I think Ryan McLeish has done everything that he needed to do. It's going to be across the line, and Ryan McLeish is going to take the win ahead of Stuart Black. Ben McNeese is going to come across the line in 3rd position. A very well-deserved 4th place for Ben Mason. Mark French is going to come across the line in 5th position. Elby Clark should finish in 6th there. Billy Waite will get 7th. Peter McKernan, that's 3rd race has just not gone well at all. 8th position for them. Scott Smith is going to come across the line in 9th. 10th place for Brent Bowie, and then 11th place for Stuart Robertson. Mark Reed and Pino Palazzo rounding out the field. What a race. What a race, what an entire day we've had for the SMRC, whether it's been the Fiestas, whether it's been the C1s, whether it's been the Minis or the Classic Sports and Saloons, or whether or not it's been the very welcome guest star of the Scottish Legends Championship. What a fantastic, fantastic day. We hope you've really, really enjoyed yourself. We're going to jump over in just a minute to Andy Alston in pit lane. He'll be having a chat with some of the drivers. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, next race up is going to be on the 9th of October, the season finale. That is when the SMRC is back here at Knockhill. We'll be back with our final live stream of the season. And I can guarantee absolutely more of the same on that one. So much to play for, so much drama, so much storyline to fight for in that final race. But the car's going to make their way round into the Holden area for the final time. And we're going to head over very, very shortly to our man with a mission. It's going to be over to Andy Alston in just a second. But the car's heading round to you just now, Andy, and the whole day has been absolutely astounding. In fact, I can see Andy's out there, but our cameraman, Ant Hollings, has gone MIA. So I'm going to go and send out a search party for Ant. Meanwhile, we're going to get... looks like we're going to get a slightly better cameraman in the form of Kim Hollings. Is going to be taken to the reins. Well, you know that's Yeah, what can I say to that? That's we're getting more than we paid for here. That's what we like to say. But Legends making their way into the holding area just now, and that is us. That is barring our post-race interviews, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you've had a wonderful afternoon. Going to just make sure that the cars all get themselves in. That was a frantic final race there. So what we'll do is when we're ready, we'll just hand over to the inimitable. Now I'm trying to figure that one out. Anne Halling has just appeared, and Kim Halling has just appeared in the production suite with a rather nice glass of beer for me. So that's happy days. Right. So if we're good to go, then without further ado, let's hand it over to Andy Alston for the final time today.
Yes, great action there in the finale here in the Legends. Let's grab a quick chat with Ben McNeice, who took the final step in the podium, who joins us now. Ben, many congratulations. You must be really pleased that you've signed off your weekend with a podium.
I am. It's my first podium. It's a bit unfortunate that I took it, obviously, due to somebody else's misfortune, but certainly not what I like to gain my first podium, but I'll take that. Happy with that. It's been a great weekend. Mega.
Absolutely, and the action's been so dramatic throughout all three races here in this championship as well, and you've just signed off your weekend on a high, and you can really take that momentum and confidence with you moving forward.
I teamed up with Colin Smart this year, and I've made massive progression within the field. My goal this year was to get a podium. I've done it, 2 rounds to go, so aye, great, can't ask for more.
So many congratulations, well done, Ben. Ben McNeice there, taking the final step of the podium in the last race in the Legends, and of course the last race of the day as well. We'll grab a quick chat with second place man here, and Stuart, it's been one of those days, hasn't it? You know, you've been there or thereabouts. Another great scrap between you and Ryan, but another trip to the podium as well for you.
Yeah, it was a good day. Weather's been good, race has been good. It's always good racing with Ryan. It's always good racing with most of the guys here anyway. It's a good promotion for Scottish Legends, if you ask me. I'm happy with the day, and cars in one piece. We're back in 2 weeks' time in September, so should make it a bit easier for me to get the car prepared for them.
Excellent. Many congratulations. Great drive out there today. And we'll just grab a quick chat with our race winner Ryan McLeish in just a moment, but a really strong performance from him, it must be said, in the 71 car. Great scrapping throughout, nice clean racing as well at the front, but Ryan McLeish, it was interesting when he made that move just in the midway point in the race. I did wonder if he felt that he had to make the move, because he got such a good run up the start, finish straight, pulled the car up the inside and got the move done before going into Duffus as well, and then just managed to fend off the cars behind him. So really strong performance from Ryan McLeish, and he'll take that confidence with him into the tail end of this season as well. So great performance from him, and been great action throughout here in the Scottish Legends too. So we'll grab a quick chat with Ryan McLeish and just hear what he has to say after a very strong weekend from him, and we'll speak to him now. Ryan, many congratulations. You've signed off your weekend in style, and you must be thrilled with how things have gone.
No, ecstatic. Great race. The first couple of corners were insane. Me and Stuart, bumper to bumper, managed to make our way from last to second and third within the space of 3 corners. So don't know how we done it, but it gave us a good bit of free space in front of us to just keep building to us, nose to tail. Built a gap, then we started to fight it out towards the end. But happy to take it across the line in first. Feels good.
It's one of those ones as well. You mentioned you starting at the back, and then before we knew it, you were right up there, and that was it. You were fighting for the lead as well. You know, you really made your way through the pack so cleanly and in quick succession as well.
No, definitely. That's end of the day. I don't know why we can take the car home with damage. So if I'm not going through cleanly, I won't be going through.
And talk us through that move that you took for the win as well. Just you got the good run up the start finish straight as well, and you kind of pulled up alongside. And were you deliberately looking to make the move into Duffus, or do you just feel that you had a good run and you had to make the move there and then?
No, definitely. Ideally, if I overtake there, I'm not going to take too much of a time deficit coming out. But the main thing, I don't want to come in way too fast, overshoot it. So as long as I'm next to him, I'm on the racing line, I should have the corner. So just about making sure I position the car where I want it. We definitely did.
Great stuff. Many congratulations, Ryan. Well done. Ryan McLeish there taking the win in the final race here in the Scottish Legends, and of course the final race of the day. So let's grab a quick chat with someone who we've heard plenty of throughout today, but we'll speak a little bit more to him as well. Why not? Dave Christie joins us now. And Dave, I mean, we could be here all day really in terms of the action that we've seen throughout. I mean, so much drama in the Fiestas as well. We've got that championship battle. Same again in the C1s. Great to have the classics out there as well. So many big talking points throughout the classes, but a great day once more here at Knockhill.
Well, you've just found out there's a reason behind the microphone, haven't you? But look, oh my God, what a day we had. I mean, it just felt absolutely relentless from right at the start when we had the Fiestas, we had the C1s right in the morning, and then it just kept going. I'm going to need to lie down for a week after this meeting. It's been absolutely fantastic. And for me, it's a great thing because it just highlights how good motorsport is here in Scotland. You know, every single championship did themselves proud today, and the great thing about it is if anybody fancies getting into it, nearly all of the championships, they've got those arrive and drive options, so you can just jump in, have a shot and take part in it.
Absolutely, and it's one as well where we've got the stage set for a thrilling finale on the 9th of October as well. So many big talking points going into that, not just of course for fighting for championships, but all the way through the standings as well in each of the championships.
Yeah, and it means a huge deal. Obviously we tend to focus on the title fights and, you know, who's going to be going for the top 1, 2, 3, but having experienced it myself in another championship, it means so much even to get just one place above somebody else, because it's the whole season you've been fighting against this other person or these other people. It absolutely means, and also for your sponsors as well, so that's exactly what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. Great to work with you once more here today. We'll see you both on the 9th of October for the final round of the season. Thanks very much.